Why?
Yeah, the second we flip the iPad.
I'll just remove that wherever too. I was looking at my thing. I don't really care.
Okay.
How was that helpful for me?
I wasn't trying to be helpful for you. I was just trying to make myself cozy. Don't we just look like dwarfers? I'm a big bitch. Don't describe her wrong.
I'm like 8 whiskeys back, and I'm like,
Caribou Crossing is a block. Yep. I'm not too big into Canadian whiskeys. They're so sweet, so like, but super into Scotch Irish.
Yeah, okay.
And I have probably the best bourbon at my house that you're gonna ever find. I mean, I love it. But I have Weller Antique 107, and I have Weller Special Reserve.
oh, you paid some money.
Yeah, and then I got some really high-end Scotch and Irish.
All right, guys, let's get rocking and rolling a little bit. I'm just going to kind of follow the clipboard along. Anytime I do a seminar, no matter whether it's a full weekend seminar or something like this, whatever we're doing, I like to get to meet people a little bit. I know most of you, but you all may not know each other. I'm not looking for your life story, how many years you played high school football and all your injuries, that kind of thing.
Wow.
Just a name is good enough. And, you know, maybe how long you've been lifting. The biggest thing I'm looking for is if you're a coach or an athlete, if there's anything specific you want to get out of the seminar, you can throw that out there too. So, toss right over to you. Yep, on the spot.
Number one.
My name is Samantha Brawley, and I've been lifting. I did my first competition in 2017. Took about 4 years off and had 2 more kids, and I just started back 2022.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
April G. Roy is 1 year of lifting as of this meet.
Awesome.
Thank you. Still quite a newbie, but I really would love to get more specific on squats.
Cool. We will do that.
Dave Dunlop. I competed in the 80s and 90s. Took 25 years off. Did my first meet last spring. We'll see where it goes. One big decent coach, more than two better power lifters.
Welcome back. Any USPA certified coaches in here other than him? Yep. Cool. So 2 USPA certified coaches. David is also one of the only now level 2 coaches because we just launched that program. We'll talk about that a little bit more here as we go. But one of only, how many of you graduated? 12? Something?
It was low.
It's not a big crowd. So I'll highlight that for you.
Okay. I didn't get my plaque. On the paper.
Video team.
I'm Josie Cross. I've been powerlifting for 6 years and reffing for 5.
I'm Marissa. I've been lifting for like 5 years. This is my 7th meet. So, yeah.
I'm Kelly. This is my second meet. Just kind of trying to stay strong and not let my body fall apart.
I'm Austin, coached by Rick Simmons. Been lifting since about 2017, powerlifting since 2020, I think was my first comp. And after that, it's just chasing numbers.
John Vasey, ref and meet director. I've been lifting since I retired in 2011, and I do this to get over being disabled.
Roger Gillett.
And best shirt in the crowd. Just saying.
Boom.
You prepared. I've seen this.
I'm Roger Guillory. I've been competing since 2016-ish. I'm also a USPA referee. Yeah.
We hurt Roger.
Best mullet.
Party in the back.
I'm Morgan Truth. This is my 3rd year lifting.
Awesome. Anything in particular you want to get out of this?
Out of school. I'm Dan Werla, 3rd year lifting as well. Like John over there, I started doing it to combat my various disabilities, and it's awesome. So here I remain, and I've been doing it with my kid for 3 years now, and it's kind of a blast. So.
Awesome. What else you do?
I'm Randall Redden. I've been lifting for about 4 years now. This is my last meet in my senior year.
since 2019. And a rep. And I just want to sponge every word out of Kyle. He's been my coach now for 15 weeks, so
Another one.
looking forward to absorbing more info.
Sure.
Yeah, and I have the best shirt.
Taking over.
I'm Jeremy Sawicki, I'm Hallie's dad, I just paid the bills.
I'm Jessie Sawicki. I'm Hallie's mom. I pay the bills.
I'm Hallie, and I'm in the middle of my second year of powerlifting. And Kyle is my coach.
I not go.
Aaron Cross, I started lifting about the same time Josie did. We kind of got into that's how we actually met. In the process of getting USPA referee certified, just got through my practical. Cues, focusing on cues, deadlifting, squat.
Robert Leonard just started about 4 months ago, powerlifting. That's my coach.
Nailed it.
My name's Christy Myers. Lifting's probably specific to powerlifting about 4 years. I do a lot of general fitness, personal training, and just finished my level 1 coach's cert last night because I wanted to have it done before this seminar, but wanting to kind of go into that niche a little bit in our
Yeah, we need more good coaches out there. Sure.
Hey, I'm Lisa, hold back in the back here. I've been lifting since high school off and on. It's my 4th meet, but I'm gleaning information here today. I apply a lot of this in physical therapy, so I think that's really important that we're heavy lifting.
Definitely carries over a lot. Did you follow any of the former Kabuki strengths education that we had put out in the past?
No, but
So there's still a lot of it out there on YouTube. I'll be doing some stuff privately with my company. I'm not to go down the rabbit hole real quick, but and the USPA is still off the same foundation. So a lot of the principles come from DNS and great leaders like Dr. Stu McGill and other stuff. So it's founded in very deep scientific basis, which carries over to commercial fitness, physical therapy, pro sports. That's where the old company was so successful because we have that layer. It's not just, hey, bench this way because I said so, because I have multiple all-time world record holder benches. That's not how we do things. So you can definitely carry it over in there.
Trent, this is my place here. Been lifting since the 90s.
Woo!
Yeah, just always more knowledge from good lifters. So that's what I'm here.
Appreciate it. Thank you for hosting us, the meet, but also this.
Yahoo for me!
So when he's on the platform tomorrow,
Yeah, let's go!
Here.
Anybody want a donut? Before you
Well, now,
pass those out, buddy?
some of us have been cutting
Ladies,
weight for
walk in
24
right
hours.
class, we're introducing ourselves.
Yep, I'm Jocelyn.
No pressure.
Wait, are we all interested?
Yeah, you really have it, I promise.
You're late.
Donuts are such a great thing to be eating after weigh-ins.
What's wrong with donut?
Yeah.
I'm
Who's taller?
Welcome, Madison.
Addison, how long have you been lifting?
My first competition was last summer.
Good donut. Nice.
Here.
My name's Willie. I've been working out for a long time. I just did a powerlifting meet in Kalispell on a whim. Just decided to do it, and I had a blast. So I brought all this down here. So I decided to come down and do this one too.
Reminds me of my first meet. I was actually a personal trainer, and I was the guy who showed up at a powerlifting meet. If this is some of you too, it's okay because I did it. But I was the guy. I was a personal trainer. I was co-owner of a CrossFit gym. I like to lift heavy stuff. I was like, well, let me go compete because I want to train athletes. And this was a while ago. I don't know. I'm just gonna wrap my knees and figure out how to knee wrap. Had a crappy belt, horrible equipment. I just registered, showed up at the meet. I was the guy like, hi, where do I stand? What do I do at weigh-ins? I don't know what weight class I am. What are weight classes? Then the next day in the meet, oh, you look big and strong. Hey, where am I supposed to be right now? Do you know what I'm supposed to do? Half the crowd was like, kid, beat feet. There were some other people like, okay, come with me. let me help you out. So it was a mixed bag, but it was really interesting. And after that, I just got the bug. And, well, now here we are as Team USA head coach. So came a long ways from just jumping in and meet to continuing to make a profession out of it. My back corner. Yeah, you thought you were going to get away. No.
Brian Hanson, state judge, been, this is my third year competing.
And everybody knows Scott, but we got to throw him under the bus too. Yeah.
Do you like long walks on the beach, Scott?
Scott Sheretta. I am the state chair for Montana. Been doing this since 2018. Josie and I actually did our first competition together for another federation, Wabble. We did that in Missoula in 2019. Yeah, and then we went to Wabble Worlds together and did that. But been to 5 different world events, 4 national events, 1 North American event. This is now my 10th meet that I've put on since taking over, and I can't thank you guys enough for being here. I hope you enjoy Kyle Sonar. Kyle's been my coach for almost 2 years now.
Oh, good.
And I haven't achieved what I have if it wasn't for him.
Appreciate it. All right, guys. Just because I like to know, how many coaches do I have? Cool. Small handful. All right. What we're going to do here is we're going to start with breathing and bracing. I'm going to do some demos to kind of wake you guys up a little bit and give you something else to think about. Then we'll take a break. If you need a break at all, because this is a fairly short seminar, if you were weighing in, need to recarb, and have already weighed in, need more food, feel free to step off. I won't be offended. Use the bathroom. I'll try to break a couple times officially, but I'm going to jam pack like 10 hours of education into 3.5 now, right? So I'm going to throw a lot at you, so I'm going to try not to give us, if you need to, use the restroom, feel free to jump off. After that, rounding out the rest of this first hour, then we're going to cover squat for about an hour, bench for about an hour, and deadlift for about an hour.
Hey, sorry, real quick, guys, the bathrooms, they get kind of finicky, so if 2 of you are going to the bathroom at the same time, just don't flush at the same time. Appreciate it. And I mean that at all, seriously.
We can't synchronize together. Damn it. Damn it.
Talk to your partner.
No poop
I
stick.
love questions, by the way. I'm a question person. I'll be asking some of you questions. Some of my coaches out there, I'll be throwing you under the bus and asking a question. I don't believe there's any wrong answer. Just like I will tell you here, what I like to say is there's different strategies. I'm not going to say a certain coach's program is wrong. I'm not going to say a certain lifter's technique is wrong. I don't believe in that. There's multiple ways to solve the problem. I like to talk strategies. We're going to talk belts here in a minute. There's lots of different ways to tighten your core and create intra-abdominal pressure. Some of them I will disagree with, but it's a strategy that works for lifters. What I'm going to encourage you, hopefully open your eyes, and show you in my humble opinion what a better strategy is. Through science-based and through many years of some of the best athletes in multiple sports all across the world. So again, it's not right or wrong. It's not a yes or no. Let's look at it as a strategy, right? If I'm talking specifically with CrossFitters or weightlifters, they might be thinking a different strategy. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It's just how they're using their body to do X, Y, Z. So I want to highlight that because again, if I'm pointing something out, it's not that you guys are doing something wrong. I want you to be able to evolve and make your lifting better. Again, I like questions, so don't hesitate to raise your hand, ask questions. Again, we're going to jump a lot of information at you guys in a very short amount of time. People who know me, right, know if you need me as a follow-up, especially if you're going through coaching programming, hit me up. You can get my cell phone number, hit me up on social media. It's not the best place to get a hold of me, that's why I offer my cell phone number. Email me, stay in touch. I don't expect you to take things that are new from right here today and instantly have it down. That's why I say take notes, take video. Especially if you're coaching, or even if just yourself as an athlete, you need help. Hey coach, I'm running into this, it helped, what do I do? What's the next steps? Hit me up. It's an evolving process. Since Kabuki Strength has shut down and they don't do any coaching and education anymore, the new company Kabuki Power is just their barbell line. There's a void in the industry. So with that, I just launched my own business. Got a nice business logo right there, my walking billboard. Dream Team. New YouTube channel for you guys for a lot of better long format education than your Instagram, Reels, TikTok, all that good stuff. Those are just short and it's playing social media world. So I'll be filling out a lot of information there if you want a good place to follow up on continuing education outside of my contact. Has anybody not ever seen or heard of me before today? Cool, a couple of you. So just a quick background on me. I've been in the industry for 15 years as a strength coach. I used to co-own a gym, co-own a CrossFit gym in Oregon, ran commercial gyms, got involved with Kabuki Strength as a company. Right about the time the name changed as Kabuki Strength, I was one of their top 165 athletes. I've lifted multiply, single ply, raw, wraps. I've done it all. I've coached international. I've been blessed to have athletes all across the world and be able to travel international, have athletes fly me across the world. I've coached in most all federations that you can imagine. I stayed with the USBA once I got my referee, and then I took over as Team USA head coach. And just recently, I actually took over a role with the USBA as their director of education. So talking about level 2, level 3 education, we're going to produce a lot. We're actually interested in doing a youth certification for parents or coaches that want to coach youth in the sport, and then also a master. So we're looking at doing a lot of continuing education to give back to the industry. So definitely keep your eyes open for that if you like what we're doing here. Any questions before we talk breathing and bracing? So I want everybody to take a big, huge breath for me right now. And relax. Take a couple more. And then just hang out. Then I want you guys to brace as hard as you can for me. Sorry for too much pizza. One more. Cool. So the thing I always like to highlight, again, we're going to talk strategies. I didn't have to teach you how to breathe or you wouldn't be alive, right?
Nailed it.
We're breathing, we're living. You all know how to pick up something heavy, even if you're not a lifter. Most are all lifters, obviously, in here. If I'm going to take a CrossFit class or get into strongman, heck, if I'm going to go pick up a big stone in my yard as I'm moving stuff around, we generally know how to tighten, I hate saying that when I'm going through this argument, tighten our core, brace so we can pick up heavy objects. Those are ingrained in the way we are as humans. It doesn't mean we're doing it correctly, right? Stress and life changes are a big factor that alter our breathing. If I had everybody run sprints right now and then grab a heavy squat bar, that would not be optimal breathing pattern for a 1 rep max squat. In a CrossFit class, we might be doing that. So really understanding how these systems work and work together, not for life, for optimal performance, is very important. Again, I don't have to teach you how to breathe because you're here. But when we talk breathing and combining that with bracing for optimal efficiency as an athlete, that's something different. And it gets missed a lot. I could just say bracing or intra-abdominal pressure. I actually have a seminar next weekend that's almost 2 full days on just breathing and bracing in San Diego. We're going to get into some of the lifts a little bit, working with some athletes. But essentially, you keep hearing me break up the two. Instead of IAP, I actually like the term omnidirectional bracing. We think about it like a spear. We're going to talk about that a bunch today. When we wear a belt, it is 360. We're bracing into all sides of this. It's not just me pushing my belly out, but it's more than just this. That's why I like omnidirectional. Every direction you can think about. If I had a balloon in my hands or a beach ball, we want pressure expanding out in all areas. That that gets kind of confusing when we think about the back of our pelvis, or our pelvic floor, or our rib cage, or the top of our diaphragm. So we're going to make it pretty easy to bring back. So anytime we're talking about pressurization, another way to talk about it, think multi-direction, omnidirectional. Does anybody have any questions on that? Does that make sense? Or cool. Guys following along a little bit? Awesome. The biggest problem I see with bracing is athletes combine it. That's when I coach, brace, breathe. Breathing and bracing. I've said that a lot here. Again, we could just say IAB, or omnidirectional bracing. Really, that's just creating rigidity in our spine and our torso, so the spine is stable and produces force into a ball, a baseball bat, a punch, whatever it is we're doing athletically, right? But they're separate. To get good at them, they're separate. I'm going to give you guys some easy drills to take home, if nothing else, that'll help change your mind on the way you separate these two. If we don't separate them, I promise you, you'll never be as good as you should be at both things. And life also changes. Early on, when I went through the Kabuki strength material and started coaching seminars all across the U.S. and the world with that team, I got really good. I thought I was the best at bracing. I was commonly the drill guy for our seminars. I got really, really strong at it. I thought my breathing and bracing was check. I was doing a lot of kickboxing at the time. COVID hit. Life changed. A lot of people were stressed out. I quit kickboxing. In my head, that's the only two things that changed. I'm very analytical with my training. It's the way my brain works. No other things changed in my life, really. That was it. COVID, people are stressed. I don't kickbox anymore. Went to a seminar with our head coach at the time. I was the assistant head coach. Had me out, and I hadn't done drills for a while, doing drills. And I was like, I can't figure anything out. I feel like a rookie. I thought I was the best in the room no matter where we went. That was a hard lesson for me, that life changes, right? So my point is, if you think you're good at this, don't go back to, I brace. Break it down. Just like I'll teach you your squat setup, your deadlift setup, break it down. If you have a step by step process to follow, I guarantee, no matter what's going on in your life, or how hard that new ammonia bottle just hit you, when you step on the platform for an all-time PR, you have something to fall back on. Versus, well, I just do it because I'm good at it, right? So again, I really want you guys to break down the difference of the two. Let's jump right into some drills. Give it a Mario. So, I'm going to give a couple harder demos here, or better visuals for you. So again, if you guys can't see as we do some of the stuff, feel free to get closer. You can push it pretty hard. Yeah, lean into it a little more. So, everybody already knew how to breathe, and they knew how to brace. We saw that. You have to learn to separate the two. First, I'm just going to brace. Push harder. 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 Okay. It's a skill that you have to learn. Right? It doesn't become that easy. Now I'm going to breathe. Same pressure. More. Nice. I'm going to show bracing again. Notice how I do those things both fairly relaxed, even though I have a lot of effort. What I don't want when we get into it is, that's not a breath. So I had you guys breathe already. All we're doing is breathing. The best cue I can give you working on your breath is, push again, breathe. That's nice. Worn in proper tension. Imagine how tight I can get that structure. Right? Very, very tight. This should be our weight belt. when we add that, now things are bulletproof. So, I'm going to give you guys a drill here in a couple minutes. I'm going to give a couple other visual demos so we can knock them out of the way. We don't have to do them on bench. You don't have to do them on squat. Do you have deadlift strap by chance? Sweet. So the hard part is combining those. Most people are better at one or the other, and I haven't really found a reason or rhyme why. Some people are pretty good at bracing and they suck at breathing. Some people are pretty good at breathing and they suck at bracing. Combining those is hard, I'm not going to lie, especially if you're not used to breaking it down like this. And the endurance to hold and maintain is even harder. So, first, we breathe or brace.
Breathe.
Brace. Muscular brace. Don't worry, I'm going to ask a bunch of times. Air in. Push harder. Now, the hard part is my ability to hold this. This is about a 3 rep max right here. There's my 5th rep. It's not this easy, I promise you. I'm getting hard. It's getting hard. I'm struggling here. It's probably about as much time as me taking a very hard set of 8 on squat. The nice thing on deadlift is, we can put it down. We can get our life together and think about our life choices. Coach said 3 more. Okay, we can lock back in. When I walk that squat out, if it's a hard set of 8, 10, 12, whatever it is, whatever bar I'm using, this should remain engaged, right? Most people don't. They do a couple reps. Oh, yeah. And go again. Yeah. It's not horrible. It's better than never resetting, but it's not optimal, right? When we maintain optimal position, we never want to do anything to jeopardize that, especially the heavier the loads are. The stronger we get as athletes, the worse that is. And it doesn't matter what actual weight we're moving. We've got a couple minors here, right? Strong is strong. I have a client who's 81 now, and she's lifted with us for 10 years, and she always compares herself to the 242, 270 guys in the open who are untested. Oh, this stuff's 900. We have all the world records. Sometimes we don't think strong is strong, right? What our max is. But it's important, as your strong gets stronger, you're now jeopardizing your body with more load. I always say that because a lot of my background, I did a lot of injury rehab and prevention. At first, I was going to go down a different path than I did. 2 years ago, I finally had to have back surgery. It sucked. Tried everything. I avoided it for about 8 years. Hit some big numbers. Was ranked really well in the world. Did some pretty cool stuff. I went to bed. This is my cool story. I woke up. My disc kept blowing out at night. If I deadlift at 805, I did a couple months before, and it blew in. I'd been like, well, that was stupid. At least I pulled 805 in the gym. Nothing cool. Went to bed. Right? Things happen. So after that, I'm even more cognizant of telling athletes, whether we're in our 60s, 70s, or 13, 14 getting into it, set this up for long-term success, and the rest of your body and your joints, and it'll carry over pretty well. So, back to breathing and bracing. I think we're going to make everybody better here at both things, bracing and breathing. The combo is going to be very hard, I promise you. You'll probably get it for a 1 rep max. Awesome. Try doing it for 3, 4, 5, 8 hard reps when you're winded. It changes. Don't back off the gas pedal. Keep pushing forward. I promise it'll be better. The one caveat I just thought of that I didn't think about too much as we were doing introductions that I do want to share with everybody is it's always interesting. I've done a couple seminars right prior to a meet. I don't want to tweak a lot of things for athletes right prior to a meet. So learn stuff today. If this is earth-shattering, never even heard of this before, and it feels different, take your notes, take your videos, do you tomorrow, and then go make a better version of you starting Monday, Tuesday, next week, Monday, right? The squat setup, bench setup. If it helps you and it makes your life easier, cool, do it tomorrow. If it feels different, memorize it and hit it next week. I don't want to do anything to jeopardize anybody's training. So we're going to push some things pretty hard into here too with core training. If you're lifting tomorrow, go through the paces. Don't put in 110%. Deadlift strap. Find one? Right there. Sweet. questions about belts?
You said tightness, proper tightness.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Right where I'm gonna go. Any other questions? Belts?
This is probably a rule book thing, but are there ratchet belts USPA
Yeah.
approved?
Yeah.
Okay.
I prefer not to have a ratchet belt. One of the main reasons why is, as an athlete, I don't like to second guess things, and I don't like my athletes to second guess. Like, especially when we're talking bracing. Like, it just don't feel tight today. That's pretty tight, that'll work. And now, I made it too tight, and I can't find my optimal IAP. It can be a problem. Same is even true with these. My favorite belt these days, I don't get paid by them, I swear, the Pioneer Power Lever, because it's lever, but it's adjustable within a couple notches. And I'm pretty good at teaching this stuff, so I'm pretty good at knowing. I'll put in a little, I don't know. Okay, the next one. Ooh, that's it. Okay, got 3 more minutes before I squat. I know where it is, right? I can do that 1-2 check. I do wear a belt different for squat and deadlift. And if I'm gonna bench with a belt, I wear it slightly different. When I was a multi-ply lifter, I used to have different equipment. So I'd have a different belt for deadlift, a different belt for bench, different one for squat. You shouldn't have a lot of adjustment difference. For me, it's one of these notches, so a 1/2 inch, and a little bit higher or lower. Other belt questions? So this is a little, just a hair on the tight side for me. But pretty easy to shove in. Okay. Don't put it back. We're gonna hang out here together for a minute. Should have warned you. It's not so awkward, I promise.
No, it's not good.
So we should be able to slide 3 fingers in for most people anywhere in the belt at any point in time. Put any leaks for me? Pretty easy, right?
Okay.
So on the back, if you will. Off to the side right here. So can we get them out?
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Come back over here for me. Now, fingers in. If you have your belt too tight, getting this loose is going to feel bad right away. It might take you a couple months to get to that point. I'll give you a second, so I'm not hang out here forever. Okay. We get off with me.
Oh, I was enjoying it.
Jokes aside, I was the guy in a multi-ply suit who had my belt wrapped around the rack in the back when I was 1 or 2 out, even stupider, and I would press off the side of it, try to pull myself in, and I'm squatting like 700 pounds at the time. I'm a lower guy, 165, squatting 700. So I got pretty strong legs is my only point. I'm pressing into the rack. My buddy then pushes here to shove my stomach smaller, and my other buddy pushes on my low back so we can find a hole to get in there. Wrap my knees and I walk out like a zombie. This thing felt like a tank. And I needed help out, so I needed a lot of help out of that belt. I didn't know what I didn't know. This was a long time ago. Way too tight. I'm going to show you the problem with that. There's no room to expand. The only place for me to breathe is up in here. It's artificial. It's passive tension. Remember I said there's strategies. Did it work for me? Yeah. I had multiple world records. I wonder what I could have done if I was better. It would have been a higher world record, right? It worked because it was a strategy. It doesn't mean it was the correct strategy. There's better ways. So, too tight, when I then learned to loosen the belt a little bit, if somebody would have put one of these on me, I would have been like, I feel nothing. Like, I can't. So I had to go halfway, meet in the middle, get a little bit better about making my power belly, getting a little better about expanding, and then I could move out a notch, move out a notch. So if your belt is very tight, or your athlete's belt is very tight, don't just move them from 0 to 60. You might need to go 15 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour before we hit 60, right? All right, let's finish that up. So, brace. He said it, I did. Breathing. As I'm doing this, guys should see all day long is my belt staying here very level. If we had a laser across it, it should be pointing out. If it does go down, it's like out to the road. The other thing you should not see is anything here. So it's interesting, I asked everybody to take a big breath for me, and almost everybody went. Now I didn't tell you how to take a breath, so if you think about sprinting, that was good, that's the correct way, but we're in a lifting seminar. If you think about lifting, there should have been straight collarbones across the room. So back to his fingers, brace, breathe into the brace, take your hand back. That's a lot of pressure. He's pretty strong. He couldn't take his hand out. Couldn't get it back. And I won't torture him with it, but we could go oblique. We could go, for some people, the low back's the hard spot. Just put a thumb in there for me.
Yep.
Brace. Air. Combine. Brace.
Heard his thumb pop.
I haven't tried it yet. I'm going to try it at the seminar next weekend. I'm pretty sure if I have two big, strong guys, and they each put in 2 fingers so it doesn't cheat a little bit more, they can pick me up off the ground with my belt. I'm going to try that next week, and if I pull it off, I'll post it on Instagram for you guys. I think I can do it, because I've had guys drag me across the floor, and I will not give them their hand back. So it's an eye-opening drill, because if you do that to most people, it's not going to happen. Here's what I see mostly in the industry. Fingers in. And then they do this. Go ahead and pull. Oh, a little less, a little less. I'm going to let you win this one. Okay. A little less. And then get your tension.
Oh yeah.
And I might pull it back down. We've all seen these walkouts. Looks pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. There's a point in time where you're completely releasing that tension. His hand slipped right out to re-lock it in. There is zero purpose to do that.
Yes, sir.
Because our spine is under load. We go from tension to releasing tension to regaining tension. We don't ever want to do that. Tension should be created before the barbell even tries to come out of the rack. And it should be maintained all the way to walk in. When you guys see me squat a plate today on a squat bar, it's going to be the hardest looking 145, whatever it is, 155 kilos you're ever going to see. The squat's easy. The setup is going to be torture because I'm going to take it to a level 10 for you. And when I put the bar in the rack and step out, you'll hear and I'm going to hang on to it. That's the same intensity I'm going to do on my 1 rep max on the platform. It's loaded 100%. Unrack, walk out, setup, squat, execution, walk back in. I do not release pressure until it's on here. This is maintained. Deadlifts are the same thing. Here's the really cool part of this, guys. When we talk about breathing and bracing, IAP, omnidirectional bracing, any one of those you want to use, it transitions everywhere. Everywhere athletically. I'm going to talk about a volume dial here in a minute, because we're not always going to take things to, that one I almost had to take a knee, that was good. There's a lot of pressure there. Right? Yeah. We don't always have to take it to that level 10. That's your third attempt on the platform. But the only place generally I break this, or in powerlifting, the only time I'm going to break this rule, bench press. Why? Because my back is arched. Everything else is the same. I don't move this during the bench press. I open it up to put my spine in a better position for optimal press. Then I brace, breathe into the brace. It's the exact same, but I do it with an arched back. In the gym lifting, we talk Atlas stones, overhead press for athletes. A lot of us don't have the mobility to take a barbell here, and we have to get a little bit of this because of our shoulders, or we're not really good at passing our face with the bar Olympic lifting. That's an adjustment we make, but ideally we want it straight. If I'm doing kipping pull-ups or kipping muscle-ups and I swing in to get good momentum as I come through these rings, I'm opening my pelvis to get momentum for my lower body. So then we talk that dial a little bit. That doesn't mean that this relaxes 110%. We're going to use it as momentum. Powerlifting is super easy because we do 3 things, and one of them is laying down and exercising, right? It becomes super simple. When we get into life, though, about everything else other than fluid movement, I used to fight a lot, right? When I'm here, there's enough tension to keep me from falling like a sack of potatoes. When I go to throw this hook, there's a split second where I turn this and it's a little whippy. But when I lock that down, when I hit, this is just as tight as my 1-rep squat. And you don't see a lot of crazy deviation in my spine. Look at sports, the best athletes. There's not a lot of deviation in spinal movement. Yes, swinging a baseball bat, tennis racket, golf club, there's some. So not to confuse too much, because we're going to go right back to the basics. But think about it like a volume dial. 1-rep max squat, organization, pressurization, execute, re-rack, relax. Turn it up to a level 10. Everything you got. If I'm doing wall balls, out of here, there's a good brace, maybe 6, 7 for a half a second. That releases. This is gravy. Right when I receive, there's tension. Maintain through the hold. More tension. Exert force. Toss the ball. Right? Weightlifting, other things, it's fluid. It doesn't have to be a level 10 at all times. When we get into athletics, saying CrossFit a lot because we're in a CrossFit box, things change on that volume dial. A good athlete, just like a wall ball, can turn it up and down. A striking athlete can float and lock it into a level 10 like that. Powerlifters, our life is easy. Before you pick up bar, make sure you're braced at the appropriate level, execute the lift, turn it back off. Super simple. Any questions about that volume dial or how that works with athletes? Sweet. Easy peasy drill. You check yourself. Somebody's going to text me, bro. That was not easy.
Chain hang to my band.
I had a client the other day, master's lifter, pretty big guy, really strong, mid-7 squatter. I didn't like what I was seeing. And found out belt was way too tight. Loosened belt. So many years of being there, couldn't produce force. Did this with a 10-pound dumbbell, couldn't do 2 reps. Pissed, just mad. Promise you, got good real quick. Right? So, if I'm in this drill, my belt should not be so tight that I can't hold that. I won't show all. You can imagine. Not everybody's good here. Some people are really good at obliques. Like I said, some people are better breathing, bracing. Some people are really good here. Most people suck in the back. Some people really struggle with obliques. Everybody's different. So make sure you're testing all quadrants, especially when working with athletes. I'll just demo this 45 here, which would be not midline, not to the side, pointing right here. So I've already showed that without bracing, this isn't that type of belt. Brace, breathe into the brace. I should be able to walk out, decent weight here, and maintain my squat. If I have, not to get off topic, you have to maintain it and breathe. But if I anterior dump in the bottom of a squat, I was still pushing into the belt. I opened this up. The can lost pressure. Very, very powerful drill. I won't demo it just for sake of time here. The other one, this is super powerful. And 20 pounds is moderately heavy. I would just say as a rule of thumb, a guy squatting over 500, definitely over 600, should be able to hold a 35-pound kettlebell with doing like 50% of their max. You should probably be able to hold the kettlebell doing your 100% max. I just wouldn't suggest it because there's a lot of load here, there's too much going on, and Don't want a kettlebell to hit your ankle, right? But you get it. Do something that you can really handle and load, and check yourself, right? If you're good here, check obliques, check low back. It changes. One of my favorite drills ever, I posted this online before, was tying something like this off to the sled. Same drill, throw it through your belt, you should be able to pull it. Easy enough. Lock that in, go for a walk. Especially if you're already doing sled work. Why not? Push it, pull it, backwards pulls. The real hard one, you think you're good at core training, try this for fun. Throw a sled here. Do lateral drags while maintaining. The reason I like the squat for this drill and sleds is because it's not a 1 rep max. If you can have your athletes do this with a belt, you know, across even half the gym or outside for a bit, you have to breathe in and out. If you can hold that for 45 seconds worth of steps, you're a stud. You're a rock star. For ladies, if you're squatting over 300 pounds, you should be able to hold at least a 20-pound kettlebell. Right? I just throw those couple numbers out there. If you do this at first and 5-pound dumbbell hurts your feelings, that's okay. It's a really good training tool. Most people fail miserably at this drill. They're just mad at that, coach, I can't hold it. No, figure it out. If you make yourself do sets of 10 with no weight or even a goblet squat before you allow yourself to touch the bar, and every 2 reps you gotta stop and put the 5-pound dumbbell back in, you're gonna be bad. You're either gonna tighten your belt too tight and cheat yourself, or you're gonna get really good at it really quick and figure it out. I know because I was there. I've been here, guys. It sucks. Made myself do 3 sets of 10 in about every 2 to 3 reps. Boom, 20-pound kettlebell falls out. 10 minutes to get to the bar. I got good real quick. I'm tired of that. I want to get good at the drill. One of my all-time favorites. So the other great stupid human trick, again, pull a sled with your belt. Get really good at it.
I was gonna say, I was like, that's him.
Can't confirm.
That's what I said. Whoever breaks their toes first loses. You're gonna be at home to fart in during home season?
Dude, I want to ask you about not pooping when I'm racing now. That's what a preschool poops for. Get up there, demonstrator. Yeah. Hell yeah, we have a good view.
I got your taint hot warm feet. Jesus. You sit on the ice pack next time?
Moister than an oyster in his head.
Yeah.
We spent a cold shower.
Listen, I love you, but you're microwaving my ass now. It's weird.
Listen, Sharon is carrying it,
You only catch most of it once.
Where you get your
The other
full
shit
body
you can take a pill
As
for.
long as you don't put your hand down there and then wipe your face, and you won't get pink eye, you'll be fine.
Oh, now I want to though.
Just put your whole face on the seat. Just lay
Magic
down.
Mike.
I told you, OF.
Alright, so we did bench.
Well, that just looks effortless.
Again, the only thing that's different is we're now allowing you to arch your back. Primarily for sport performance. But with that, we have to understand, in the bench press, even some of those bendy athletes in the world, we want to optimize lumbar extension, T-spine extension, or everything we could do. What do you guys think? What do we want to optimize? Low back, upper back,
Upper back.
whole back.
The whole
Anybody
bag.
for whole back? Anybody for upper back only?
Are we talking safety or are we talking just
Maximize performance.
maximize performance?
Well, maximize performance, the whole back.
Anybody just low back?
We're all wrong.
So, low back is where the spine moves the most. Ideally, we want global, but when we get global, that's most everybody just doing this, right? There's a, I don't have the slide of it, obviously, because I don't have any slides. You guys can Google it. Crazy x-rays and MRI of a yoga contortionist, so someone who's really, really bendy, who can kind of put themselves in like a little box, and I'm not joking, like somebody that can touch their pelvis to the back of their head and do scorpion. They MRI the spine in that position. There is zero change from maximum extension here. It is crazy, because it looks kind of like this. There's this nice curve, and then it's flat. And these discs and these discs take the brunt of the spinal movement. Why is that? Our rib cage. Now, we want to encourage, because most people are stuck here, they're not even in a neutral T-spine. We want to encourage maximum upper back extension, and then finish with the lower back. I say that quickly because, again, it changes breathing and bracing. So always look to optimize upper back extension. Then we can finish globally. The one thing that you will find, if you're good at breathing and bracing, some people that are very, very bendy in the bench press will actually be pulled out of their arch a little bit. Because when we brace really well, if we're super extended, we brace really well. Happened to me there a little bit. I lost a little bit. But if we have this huge bendy arch here, and things look pretty good, me simply tipping my pelvis anterior and getting another 2-3 degrees of pelvis rotation down here does not affect where the barbell touches up top, I promise. And that's when we risk low back injury for our athletes, especially if they're not optimal in squat and deadlift and other things. So, we'll cover this more with bench press. So let's just stay on breathing and bracing. Once I get my position, before the bar comes out of the rack, brace, breathe into the brace, that's maintained the entire time that I'm pressing. Questions about that? It's the exact same thing. Brace, breathe into the brace. Maintain it from the time the bar comes out to where it comes in. I see more people draw in here, for whatever reason, than any other lift. We have decent arch. I'm reffing from the side of the platform. I see it in the right foot of the bench. This or this happens. It is a strategy to create tension here, to drive force through the legs. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's a strategy. Lifters make it work. I'm telling you there's a better way. We want expansion. One of the best demos I've done, it's actually, I just pinned it to my Instagram page, you guys can see it. We put it on video. There are 3 different cans. I take 3 cans. An empty can, a can with some structural damage, or I make structural damage, and a full can. Take an empty monster can, completely empty, and it'll hold like a 45-pound dumbbell, no problem. All we do is change the structure a little bit, give it a little crunch, same 45-pound dumbbell collapses it. You can stand on a single can of Coca-Cola, Monster, whatever, stand on 2, I don't care. You can poke a pinhole in it, and you can hang out for about 15 seconds. As soon as enough pressure, even though there's no structural damage, happens to the can, that one's going to collapse. It's a really interesting drill. Full Monster, I've taken a 120-pound dumbbell and smacked it down on it, and it held the pressure. Why do I find that important? Again, we're talking a crunch here. Same thing with me getting a good brace. I walk out in the squat, and then I go, I've just changed my structure. That would be like me taking the can of Monster and crunching it in before I add load to it. If you don't believe me, test it yourself with weights on a can. I know we're not a can, but we're pretty close. And no, you may not crumple and land all crushed up on the floor, right? Hopefully not ever. But that's the difference in between making your 3rd attempt, or making a new PR, or missing it hard. Or making a new PR, but you could have done 30, 40 more pounds, right? Structure It's what we're going to call alignment in our setup. All of this has to happen to be optimal before we breathe first or brace?
Brace.
Brace, before we brace. And then we finish with what? Air. If I had to give you a number, this is about 80%. The rest of my IAP is the pressure from my air. What are you aiming at?
212.
Come on up. Let's throw a blue for me. Stupid demon trick number 2. So, I don't recommend this at home, but I like it because it's a very powerful drill. You guys can see, hey, that's what we're looking for with IAP. I will give you a drill that is safe for your clients or safe for you guys at home. All right, buddy, come on here. He has no idea what he's getting into, by the way. Oh, you're gonna face sparks. That's what you're gonna do. Yeah, you guys can gather close if you need to. So, here's my brace. Breathe into my brace. Let's go this way. Me relaxing. Brace. Breathing into my brace. Or sorry, just breathing. Brace. Breathe into my brace. I should be able to maintain that. As I hit my reps.
Wow.
Do with him next.
What do you weigh?
I'm at like probably like 310 now.
It's about heavy, so done.
330 if you want to step up.
It's been a while since I demoed that one. I think my points proven. I'm good. It's hard work, guys. I just benched 134, whatever that is, for a couple reps. I didn't get up like, oh, let's go do that again. That was about 95% of what I had, especially holding and maintaining it there. I can probably hold more weight up there. You guys see, though, the difference, right? It's a very powerful drill. Don't do that at home. New clients in the gym. Don't try that.
Your first exercise.
But how do we stimulate that
Don't
with
worry,
an
this is gonna hurt
eye-opening
you more.
movement at home or in the gym? Bro, you guys
You guys get to stand.
both of you guys. Heavy dumbbells work just fine. Right here, both of you guys. Bare feet is my heavy dumbbell, for lack of better terms. Step on it. Step on it. There's my heavy dumbbells, right? Then got the power rack at home. I'm all set up, nice, comfy. Breathing, bracing, breathe into the brace. So I get the setup, I'm ready on rack, brace, breathe into the brace. Not.
Let me go.
Super powerful drill. I actually think this feels better for obvious reasons than a 200-some-pound man standing on me. But one of the reasons why, like that's just hard. That's a lot of downward force. This is such a small band, you can really feel it like pull into your stomach. It's not comfortable. You can tell when you're pushing back out against it, or if you're crunching in, or if it's pulling into you. And with the tension, like when I breathe into it, I can really feel my breathing. Right before I turn you over, guys, over to a drill, that's why I've always been a big fan of this product. Yes, there's other there, but it's very similar. If you don't have a breath belt, and you want to feel some of this, one thing you can do, this is another at-home drill I have. So the drill I'm going to give you guys on the floor in a minute, the bench drill and this drill, if you take nothing else home, will change your life, I promise. Multiple ways, obviously. Set this up, but imagine you got a power rack at home, bench rack, whatever, tie a hook on the wall, I don't care. I'm struggling with my breathing. Remember, through a straw. If you need to, actually cut a straw in half, put it in your mouth. Hang out in the gym. It's not forceful. I'm just breathing. You need to get good at this. Obliques. When's the last time you tried breathing into your oblique? It's not as easy as it looks. Low back. A lot of people really struggle with this. The reason I love this drill is because you can feel the tension. I can feel it stretch. Yes, there's ways to cheat all the drills. That's why you chill, go slow. If I crunch here, man, it feels like I braced my low back so hard, I felt the band push out. I did it. Changed my posture, right? Me doing that, it's not bracing in that quadrant, right? When I go to bracing drills, brace, into the brace, see it expand even more. Very, very powerful drill to self-cue. If you find you're weak in a quadrant, like quadrants I keep saying, we'll talk here, 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 here. You check those on a friend or yourself, you'll find one of them is going to be weaker area. How do you cue that? Breath belt's awesome. If you guys are not familiar with it, it's a great warm-up tool. I like to wear it during movement prep, my first couple loads, and then I switch to my heart belt. If I was doing certain CrossFit workout, I would probably just use this. I have a 2-boot belt, so fairly soft, but it does maintain tension. This would be, if I had to rate belts, this would be the softest belt, obviously. You can see it expand. Then you would have something like a weightlifting belt, a 2-boot belt. They're a great company as well. And then you get into rigid powerlifting, right? Strongman, you'll see wearing something like this, and then their hard belt on top. We can't do that in powerlifting. Strongman, you can't. So the beauty of this is, just bracing, you can really feel it. It's like the big rubber band. It is. Breathing. Can be great cueing for that. These are fairly pricey, but they're worth their weight in gold, in my opinion. A lot of people wear these even throughout the day, sitting at the computer, and they have said back pain goes away. Did this do something magic? Is there voodoo in this? No! It's teaching you to use your body. Guys, I don't have to do crazy stuff here. And we're going to do that the rest of today. I'm not going to give you anything earth-shattering. I didn't have to teach you how to breathe. You're already breathing. Are you breathing correctly? Maybe, maybe not. Under load, maybe, maybe not. Bracing, we know how to tighten that up. But are we doing it optimally? And that's where any of these drills or tools will just cue you to prime your movement, so when you do step under heavy load, it is optimized.
So wearing the breath belt, like what kind of drills would you do with that? I have one and I've
Great
never,
question.
it feels like a hurdle.
So we're going to change your warm-up. I didn't know you had one. All of your warm-ups, just put that on. So for me, if I was going to squat right now, I just launched a program in my new app, and my warm-up is one of my most common ones. I start with hip airplanes, boom, boom, boom. That's a horrible example, I get it. And I run over and get my kettlebell, boom, deep kettlebell squat, open up my hips, pauses down here, boom, boom, boom. Do those. And then I'm going to work in at least one other drill. Usually a hip tactical frog or a pause squat, something like that. Then I hit the bar, go back through again, bar and a plate, go back through again, bar 2 plates. Movement prep's done, 3 plates, that would go off, 3.5 plates, rigid belt on, up to whatever my working loads are. So whatever warm-up I'm doing, we were talking about the bikes. Air bike, poof, strap this on. Or just be cognizant, not just, it's a warm-up, it's not a sprint. I'm not thinking about Metallica's playing, I'm not thinking about what I have to do after work and what's for dinner. I should be cognizant, man, I got deadlift heavy today. Paying attention to what I'm doing. Then I go through the rest of my deadlift warm-up, and then I can throw a rigid belt on. So, a lot of people even report like, put it on the way to the gym, in the car. This is working better by the time you get to the gym. Probably everything you do that day is going to be better. It's a great question. If you don't have one, again, you can get cheaper knockoffs and other things. Start with any one of these drills. Add it to whatever your warm-ups and your movement prep is before you get under the bar. Other questions? Yes, sir.
So in between stepping up weights on your like squat warm-ups, for instance, you still throw it on after and then continue to do different exercises?
I keep it on through the whole thing. So like my movement prep is that I do usually three drills. I do it in a circuit, and then I'm done with the 3 drills. Weight's getting heavier, I start increasing my time on my rest periods. Yeah, I don't take it on and off. Because it's pretty expansive, you don't need to. But if I didn't have that, I would just add in something that's cueing me very well somewhere in my warm-up.
I was about to say, because I have the Brian Shaw soft belt, the one
Yeah.
that he uses,
Yep.
and I like barely touch it.
Use
So,
it, it'll change your life,
yeah.
I promise.
I've seen it advertised with like putting some tennis balls in the front, is that just for cueing?
Yeah, 100%. So, there's pockets in here. Let me borrow you a bit, like, sit right here, facing that way. I do a lot of promo stuff, so I'm sorry I'm not trying to sell you guys everything, but I can give you a discount code if you are interested in these, because I've worked with this guy for years. Pockets, put a lacrosse ball in there. If you really suck, you just can't figure out your obliques, like no matter what I do, the band drill will help a lot, because it's cute if you go sideways. Put a lacrosse ball in there, you put it down, it's like a lacrosse ball poking you, like it sucks. You'll push a little harder to get out of your tummy. So, in person, just so you guys can see normally I would have in this position. If I was cueing my client here, which I am now, relax. Brace. Relax. Breathe. Right, same thing, you can see my fingers now. Right, same stuff we did. Here for me. Good. Breathe into that. Good. Much better. You can see some rise here, but my hand's still pushed out. He's working on it. He's getting much better. So, pockets in the ball are going to be the same way. We don't always, if we're training alone or, we don't always have things to do. I self-cue a lot still. If you see me pull heavy, if I don't edit it out of a video or on the platform, I'll literally, probably not on my third attempt because I go to a crazy place, but on warm-ups and first and second, I'll come out on the platform and I go into position. I make sure I know where my neutral head position's at. My belt's tight, I give it a little extra cue with my thumbs, because I'm weak right here. It's my weakest area. Then I go to work. Other questions? Sweet. We have more bodies. Yes?
Actually, I do have a question for you. What's the difference, would you say, with bracing with a belt and not a belt when you're doing your bench?
Excellent question. You guys all hear that? What's the difference of bracing with a belt and without a belt in regards to bench? I'm going to carry it over to all lifts. Absolutely zero. Nothing changes. Too many athletes think they do. Well, I can't because I don't have my belt on. Or they think, well, I have to lift beltless because X. It's one of the biggest misconceptions. 10 years ago, there was a big argument about that. I'm on the side of wear your belt. Most of the industry was on the side of no, you can't, your core is going to get weak. Now a lot of collegiate back studies have come out, shown with computers looking at actual muscular activation, show multiple schools with a belt on your core get stronger. In my opinion, that's because you brace harder into something, it doesn't go anywhere, so you brace as hard as you can. This gets stronger because you're trying to break the belt with your core. That's like somebody trying to stand on my stomach. Most people can't do that. If you trained for it and really braced hard and found out what your level 10 is, you can do that drill too. It's not that impressive, right? I don't have the strongest core right now that I ever have in my life. Sorry, that's what I'm not trying, you guys. I think I can do it. I don't know. I'm saying about 200 pounds right now. I'm not gonna squat 600 this week either. I'll squat 5. That's it. All right, so you guys get it. There's a gradient to that. Nothing changes. Athletes want to change stuff all the time. That's the beauty of this too. Everything I'm gonna share with you. Bent over row. Alignment. Set an initial brace. It doesn't have to be 10. I'm at 50% right here. Take a little breath. Deadlift up. 80%. Pop, pop, pop. Bent over rows. Set it down. And then I can move and run off and do my kettlebell swings. One of the favorite things I like to say, I want you guys to lift like a refrigerator. I do. I want refrigerators. Boom. Boom. Nothing deviates. The rest of your life, you can hang out and be a ballerina. It's cool. Do yoga. Move your spine. Not when you're under load. And resistance is resistance. Me doing push-ups is still resistance. This is not a heavy load for me, but it's loaded movement. There should be good alignment here and 10%, right? Nothing changes. That's what I really like teaching about this, because when you hammer it home and you get really freaking good at this, squat's better, bench is better, deadlift is better. All of a sudden you notice you're doing tricep extensions and you're a little stronger because everything's working together. You're not doing this, right? It's not the ski erg. The ski erg, you can move. It's fine. It's torture, by the way, man. The roughest thing I'll ever do in the gym. Do we still need some tension on the ski erg? Yeah. When I drive through, boom! That brace went about 70, 80, depending on what sprints or endurance I'm doing. On the way up, I got just enough to stand. If I kept that at 80%, I'd gas out in the first minute. I can't do anything, right? Back to that dial. But the structure and the way we do it does not change on anything we do. It's an excellent question. Other questions? Sweet, let's breakout drill first. So, I encourage everybody to do this. There's, I think, 10 kettlebells out here, bunch of dumbbells in the back. When you're done with this drill, please put them back for our nice host. Let's not leave dumbbells and kettlebells out everywhere. I want you guys to find a spot on the floor, grab a kettlebell or a dumbbell, and then have a seat with your tool when you're done. Great.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're just gonna breathe and stay braced. Breathe. It's like, oh wait, I get it now. And what's funny is, back when he and he had to go to a different gym. And his brother was at it.
Yeah. Shimmy across my back. Staying there. Oh, that's the best I've ever heard, face coach. Yeah. And then you see him. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I got my own little pose. Forgot to tell you, you're supposed to get a 75. You don't have to lift tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll come stand on you. Have a seat when you guys are done so I can tell everybody how to implement, please. And thank you. For you, not for me.
Yeah. Aerobics.
You will be on for a minute. So I'm going to demo first. I was just messing with you guys, seeing if you'd all sit on the floor for me. It's cool. It's like Simon says. No, I'm joking. Stand up for me, though, so you can get a good vantage point, and then you're going to go to the ground and do your I'm going to grab both of these just for fun. If you're fairly strong, again, if you're competing tomorrow, take a lighter kettlebell. That's why we had lighter kettlebells out. If you're not competing tomorrow, especially if you're a bigger, stronger athlete, challenge yourself a little bit with this. This is not a strength training drill. Be very clear with that. Stupid human trick I demonstrated. Yes, we can go bigger weight for stupider human trick. It's fun. But I'm telling you, this is not a drill that you have to, over time, go from a 20-pound kettlebell to a 100-pound kettlebell. A little bit more load will give you better benefit. It's not a strength training drill. Find a weight that's good for your body to cue you before you train. That's your good weight. So, you do not need feet up. If you're very new to lifting, or if you have a brand new client coming in the gym, when we do these tests or these drills, it is easier to go into a dead bug position, this position here, with my feet up on a chair or a bench, because it's going to take my hip flexors out of it, and then my pelvis can relax in a neutral position. Sometimes laying on the floor, especially if we go to a dead bug position, it's going to make it quite a bit harder. So, just to the ground, I'm going to take my kettlebell. Feet can be flat. Ultimately, they'd be here. This is where the bench or chair, if you guys want to put your feet up, you put them on the chair here. Kettlebell, right on your stomach. And when I come in the gym, this is my last time to chill before stuff gets real for me. So I say that because this is my quick little meditation before I get going. Spend 2-3 minutes here. If you need more of this, put it into your warm-ups and do rounds of it. Brace. Notice how that was pretty slow and passive. Right, I'm warming things up. I could have went, yeah, not always a good idea, but it's not what we're trying to do, right? I'm chilling. Brace, brace, breathe. Watch what happens when I breathe into my shoulders, so I'm stressed out. Stomach. Brace. Breathe into the brace. So, I'm going to give you the full drill right now. But again, when we set our IAP, do we breathe first or do we brace first?
Brace.
Everybody, one more time.
Brace.
So to help remember that, when we lay on the ground to do our drill, we brace. Every time. Brace, brace, brace. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Brace. Breathe into the brace. The ultimate drill after you primed that or warmed that up. Brace. Breathe into the brace. If I'm in my dead bug position, and then I'm going to hang out here so you guys can see better. It's going to be a challenge. Most of you guys are going to breathe in, and when you need that first breath of air, it's going to go. It sucks, I know. It's really, really hard. It is. It's one of the most simple things we're ever going to give you. You guys all did it. We all agreed we know how to breathe and we know how to brace in general terms. Combine those two. Good luck. Now put your 90% 100 max on your back. Even better luck. It is a skill that you have to practice. So, if you're struggling to breathe while maintaining that tension or the kettlebell in the air, do not beat yourself up. It's okay. Almost everybody does it first. Learn to do 1 or 2 breaths. Completely relax. Catch your breath. Brace again. Breathe into it. Hold it. Learn to breathe through that straw. Cool. I'm going to turn you guys loose for about 5 minutes. You can do it.
What? I swear to God, I'm going back to the hotel. Well, that's why I only did a little bit. I was like, cool. But I was telling Donna, I was like, watch. He said, don't try. I'm trying all of them. John goes for a squat and shits his pants.
That's a great cue.
Oh yeah.
I bet you get tension when you squat.
Yeah, you're seeing me get all pumped up and just drown out on the first warm-up lift. John, you have 8 more lifts. It's okay, guys. I'll scoop it out. We're
My
okay.
demo squat.
You really feel it right here.
We'll stand and set up, and I'm actually thinking, I actually got my squat. Like bracing harder, running out of my quads engaged. Because I've spent enough time doing the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step setup on my bar. Everything's tight. Like my biceps are hard because I'm not actually squeezing the bar, but I'm short of everything. I can just think big squat, and I feel my toes and my feet and my
My
quads.
son watches me lift all the
Enough
time.
time, but they don't always want attention. Some of us. Everybody's different, and it will change over time. Breathing is being which is good, because bracing is 80%, but you're missing your top 20% to take that to the next level. Okay. That's nice. Just brace. Breathe. That's much better.
Now he's having me like question. I'm like, shit. I'm like, shit. My belt is. Yeah, because I'm just like, break it up, baby. I was like, artificial.
Nice. Hold that for me. Couple breaths in and out. Questions over here? How come? Yeah, it is. Honestly, like, it's not this, I'm glad you brought that up, because this drill's not meant, like, it's not meant to.
Bro,
Especially with strong
like
kids,
now I'm
better kettlebell.
contemplating like,
When you're shoving in, he shoved his fist into my spine, that was uncomfortable.
yeah, I'm just like, guys.
Something to
No, I know, it's like, right now, I'm like,
you need that uncomfortable push out.
no, that's, when
I
you
know it
said
sounds
that, I was
like
like,
really good.
because I'm just like, that's good. Like, probably.
Tomorrow, I know you're gonna kill it.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up.
Oh my gosh.
Remorse, like, the females are carryover from.
Bro, so like my whole thing is,
Possible. Okay, that's that sport. Not wrong, it's what they have to do. That is absolutely not how to make optimal intra-abdominal pressure in your spine. It's the exact opposite. If you suck your stomach in enough and ratchet a belt down, you'll find intra-abdominal pressure. It's a strategy, it's not optimal, right? So, one of the other big misconceptions we get from that group is, if you walk around like Kyle with a power belly, you will have power belly. I'm not super lean right now, but if you can see all my abs, right, that they'd be bigger because I brace. It's not true. It's a big misconception. One of the reasons I'll guarantee that's also not the case is because if we're wearing a belt, I'm not going to get any bigger at all than this little circle. I've tried to break this thing. I've got a pretty strong brace. I have not broke one of these yet. I broke a couple levers in training, but I cannot break a belt. You're not going to get bigger than this. What makes your abs bigger is hypertrophy work. If you look at some of the strongmen and powerlifters versus bodybuilders, they have a thicker core usually, but they're also quite a bit heavier in body fat, right? Axial load, heavy load on our spine, makes this more dense. Most powerlifters lift more weight and strongman than bodybuilders. Even the big dudes, they're big, they're strong, they don't lift nearly the kind of loads that we do as powerlifting or strongman. Because of that compressive force on our spine, and we're using this more, we're going to get a thicker torso. It has nothing to do with the way we brace. And like I was saying in the back, I've worked with a couple of top pro females who've done very elite level powerlifting and went into bodybuilding and even got their pro card. They look just as lean with just as small waists as the other ladies who only have a bodybuilding background. It will not make your core bigger. But if you ever have a chance as coaches in working with a female that came out of that sport, they're taught for years to do this. Good luck teaching them to be comfortable pushing their belly out. It's just hard because it's a misconception. Forget that sport. Most ladies I know, when we introduce this, they really don't want to walk around like this and push somebody's fist out of their stomach. It's not that cool, I get it. But when you learn to have that skill, and you strap that belt on, and you unrack your new third attempt, and it's an all-time PR, and you walk that bar back, and you're smiling because you already know you got it because it feels like 70% of your max, then you're happy with this work. It will carry over, I promise. So very good question. The other one I get a lot is, where should I feel it? It depends. It really depends. You need to self-cue a little bit. If you don't feel it at all, that's why we have load. If you don't feel it, get more load. Right? I was over here with the group. I pushed harder. I pushed really hard. Pushed hard enough to feel it to make the athlete go, okay, I get it. Get out of my stomach. Right? And as coaches, there's that fine line. Right? But you have to be able to feel it. If my friend feels it in their obliques and I feel it in my low back, that's not bad. It's not right or wrong. It's just where I feel it. I'm weak in my low back. My brace needs it there. That's why we check those quadrants, if that makes sense. The other one, you guys are awesome in the back. This drill sucks, it's uncomfortable. Yeah, so did his fist trying to touch my spine. I asked him to do it, my bad. But no, it's uncomfortable. Bracing 100%, trying to hold his fingers in my belt, that was not comfortable, that sucked. I am rock solid under big load. I promise there's no deviation. I like to lift a heavy weight, so it's necessary evil. You need to embrace the suck a little bit on bracing drills and breathing drills. It's not comfortable. It is not fun. It's not beautiful, right? You're out there spitting and turning purple. It's not when we look our best. When you're standing up there with that #1 place with a new PR, that's when we look good, right? It's not comfortable. Embrace the uncomfortable. Other bracing questions come out of that. The biggest thing I saw as a group, and I see this a lot, really just not letting the weight take advantage. You did a pretty good job looking back there with me, but still cue you a little more. When it's on your belly, again, we're not breathing crazy. Relax. Let it sink in. That's why I say it's your last time to chill. Let the kettlebell try to touch your spine. I'm not holding it there. I'm just breathing. It's just a breathing. And then I'm just bracing, pushing it out. I want to see, the better I get, how much can I raise and lower that kettlebell with my stomach, with my breath? How much can I raise and lower that kettlebell with my breathing? How long can I hold that kettlebell way up there as I breathe in and out with zero fluctuation? You're right, it's uncomfortable, it sucks. Embrace it. Lots of movement. It'll make you way, way better, I promise. Last minute questions? Sweet.
I got ammonia. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want it?
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's not the chair.
That's why you want to. I would have let him try.
Thanks for here. I'm actually gonna try and steal some of his mouse. Oh, you will. Well, cause I can crack all of it.
Yeah.
I can tell Mom about Fridays have a car belly. Hell yeah. She's gonna knock me up. She's gonna deny it.
Squat questions. Any squat questions?
How do I add 100 pounds?
Within the next 24 hours.
In 15 minutes.
Still on my rest.
I got you. Switch divisions to single ply. Guaranteed. You can hang on to the bar. Guaranteed 2 pounds. Other squat questions?
Scott Market.
Yep.
High bar and low bar. Does it make that big difference? I mean, once we get more weight on the low bar, but for life of me, I cannot do it at all.
Yeah, high bar, low bar. So this is probably going to come up at bench. I'm going to take a couple minutes. I know I'm running a little later than I wanted to, but I promise we'll be a good time on all of your setups. So I'm going to talk frequency first. I like to give a good visual and make fun of myself, so then I can make fun of you guys. So you've seen me make fun of myself first. That's cool. And this will carry over into everything. So I'm going to jump to, I like to answer questions sometimes by answering a different way. So you can think, oh, that makes sense here. Oh, and now that makes sense here too. Because again, it's going to be similar. So high bar, low bar. Close grip. Powerlifting. Why? Right? Had a client who was pressing out here forever, and all of a sudden, her close grip day started to match or beat her comp grip. And I was like, I guess we know what our new competition grip is, huh? She's like, but coach, I have to do the powerlifting grip. I said, what the are you talking about? And I thought we had to, for powerlifting. How did I miss that one? I don't know. Good athlete, too. We get these stereotypes about our sport or any sport. It's not a powerlifting grip. It's just what worked for the body. So now, she was stuck at like 165. Gosh, she hit up she's got 230 in comp. She was hitting 215 for 4 or something the other day, and it's a kind of a middle grip, right? If we would have stuck with this, we never would have known. Sumo conventional, high bar, low bar. To me, it's all the same. The way I've always coached is very athlete specific. If you need something, it's not going to be the same as when I give Scott. They're 2 different bodies. Even most likely, if we have twins, their leverage is going to be pretty close. They live different lives. They probably need a little tweak. You two, I'm never going to train the same. Sorry, you don't have the same build. Your leverages are not going to be the same. Right? Yours are better. So, if you don't know, try. And that's one of these things, like, when I teach coaches this at the level 2 coaches course, I swear they report back and they're like, Coach, that was the most mind-blowing thing ever. Try 2 different positions? Like, it shouldn't be that mind-blowing. Bro, conventional only. Me and you, ride or die. Those sumo guys, that's stupid. I like sumo, by the way. I lift more. I like them both. It's not right or wrong. I was never a sumo guy. I was the guy, I will die on this hill. Conventional is how men deadlift. I got this. Yeah, we got one. Watch, he's gonna pull sumo next month.
He's already reformed. I used to go sumo, now I'm back.
Okay, it's all right, man. Yep. So, and that's what I like to see. Back to your question, in squats. And I spent some time on this because all the lifts, all of my lifters, if they're with me for long enough, will pull sumo and conventional. And you could be hardcore conventional, like, Coach, you just gave me sumo. Yeah. Sucks to be you. Learn it. Why is that? Am I trying to convert you? No. If you can get good at learning the skill of sumo because you hate it or it sucks, you now become a better conventional deadlifter, I promise. And if I took stress off your hips from always being here, years later, you're gonna thank me. And you're generally stronger, right? Why not? My CrossFit gym, we sumo. And other guys are like, what? You can't do that, it breaks the rules. We're not in competition today, we're making athletes stronger. Like, who said we can't do it? It's like my client, I can't close grip. Why? There's some of the best benchers in the world, huge all-time world records here. There's nothing that says you can't. So what I do is try. Now to quickly sum this up, if I'm a high bar squatter, I may not be able to just get to low bar, because I might be here thinking the bar is going to drop off. So I'll make time to get there. If I switch you from conventional and sumo, I might have to start on blocks and have a closer stance, because your hips just don't want to get there. Well, why would we do it? Make resiliency and to try. I've had athletes I've looked at and be like, conventional, you're built, guaranteed, we're not pulling sumo. Maybe you're not built for it. And then we try later on, and you're genetically gifted in the freak of nature somehow, and you all of a sudden start pulling better sumos. I don't know. And that's where I tell coaches this, it's a mind blowing. I'm like, just try it. Where I like to try these things, talking programming real quick, is a secondary day. I know not everybody has a secondary movement. Some athletes I coach, they only have one squat, one bench, one deadlift. Generally speaking, the way I program, you would have some secondary squat, some secondary bench. That's when we would try the low bar. Your main day, stick to what you're good at. Then on your secondary day, after you do some deadlifts or some extra bench or whatever, do a couple sets of low bar. And over time, if that builds up to equal and it surpasses, there you go. Generally speaking, people who are built to squat very well should be weightlifters, not powerlifters, and they have a certain build. Powerlifting, I have to go down this rabbit hole real quick. This is very important when we talk any movements. Look at the differences in body types and shapes in this room. There's a lot of different body types. Pay attention to this tomorrow, sometime throughout the meet, maybe at the end of the meet. Look at the different limb lengths and leverages. I've competed from 165 to 220. I do not belong in the 220 weight class, I promise. There's some dudes in there I'm like, bad decision, I should have gone. And there's some dudes in there I'm like, bro, did you play in the NBA? Dude's like this tall. I'm like, good luck deadlifting with me. That's rough. You got a bench press? It's like 7 feet in your bench press. The point to that is, watch the Olympics. Look at weightlifters on a very high level. They have almost all the same body type. Torsos are very close. Femur length is very close. At that level of that sport, you don't get that good if you're not built for it. And not to go further down the rabbit hole, our country's pretty cool because we let our kids do a lot of different sports and have fun. Look at the Chinese weightlifting team. They're even more like this. If you don't have the genetic build, makeup, height, weight at 4 years old, get out of my sport. It's not going to happen. You're selected to go over here. Why? And they're pretty good at weightlifting, I'm sorry. They do really well. Because they understand for that sport, for this body type X. Now powerlifting, we're a cooler group of people. Like, oh, you want to come try powerlifting? Yeah, come hang out, I'll help you. Try your first meet. And it's interesting, powerlifting, because there is a little more variety than weightlifting, right? There's two lifts, it's very, very similar. You'll see the top some different limb lengths and leverages. Some people are outliers. You're usually not going to see basketball players type builds breaking all-time world records. They're usually going to be shorter, thicker, stockier bodies. It's leverages, right? So it's really important to note that. High bar squatters generally are great weightlifters. Shorter torso, longer femurs, they're just built to squat. And then you put a bar on their back right here and go straight up and down, and it's just a beautiful squat pattern. Some of us, like me, have a good hinge. Need to go back in squats. I hinge into my squat, bottom of my squat, I'm fairly leaned over. It's very similar, it's not bad, right or wrong. Hinge mechanics are important in the squat. No two people should squat the same. They're different. So we don't know, high bar, low bar, close grip, wide grip. Train both. You might find that sumo's always been your thing. All of a sudden you build up conventional and it surpasses your best ever. You tell me how you want to deadlift on the platform, right? It's going to answer itself. It's a very good question. So to jump back to squats, squat-specific questions. We're going to add 100 pounds to your total. We're going to teach you a high bar and low bar. Cool. One of the problems I see could spend a whole 2-day seminar talking programming on the SWAT, talking SWAT faults, talking special exercises. There's a ton I could do for you guys just on SWATs. We don't have time for that today. But to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter if you're not good at two things. One, being very efficient and consistent with your movement. Number two, mastering your setup. As a referee, I hate to give red lights. You might watch me on a platform like that guy likes throwing red lights. I don't actually. I hate throwing red lights. I want my athletes to look so good, unless they miss because of strength, they never get a red light. Like they look like the refrigerator. They look like a robot. We should look excellent out there. I come from a fighting background. Don't care how much better I was than the other guy. You never leave it in the referee's hands. Okay? Don't make me second guess your lifts. Follow the rules and execute them. I don't want to have to decide. Right? Let me throw the white light. Make yourself efficient and duplicatable. I promise it'll help. I say that because as a referee and as a coach, it doesn't matter. I can be worlds, nationals, oh gosh, even pro platforms where they're throwing out money, like the American Pro or higher level cash money meets or invite only pro meets. And some of the stuff I see from movement quality, I'm like, what are we doing right now? Right? And then I watch their setup and it's different every time. Like, how can we have this much variance in our movements? One of my favorite words coaching is deviation. I teach coaches that. I hate deviation of movement. I won't get into right or wrong or perfect. Not everybody's always going to have perfect posture. It changes. This should be my squat. This should not be my squat. There's no reason for my head to do all that. It doesn't benefit my squat, and it's a deviation from my position. When I bench press, this shouldn't happen. It's deviation of position. I get we're not robots, we're humans, but we want to strive as much as possible to keep our limbs in optimal position. Injury risk dramatically decreases. That 100 pounds you're looking for in your squat may not get that whole 100 if it starts taking off. We can't produce good force out of the hole here. I'm sorry, quads don't like to work, but it feels like our knees are being buckled into the direction they're not supposed to go. Right? So when we clean these things up, we set ourselves up for success. Again, on the platform, it's really frustrating to watch lifters say bench press, 3 different attempts. They look like 3 different individuals. Every time they come out, I'm like, where did that habit come from? What are you doing? That's not what you just did. That's why you missed the lift. You need to be consistent with yourself. So again, I can teach you all kinds of amazing things high level on the squat. I've been blessed to work with some of the best squatters in the world. Multiple all-time world record holders. Even they have movement faults. But if they're not consistent in their setup, it doesn't matter because every time we're doing something different. And that's the biggest takeaway from this next section, squat, bench, and deadlift I want to give you guys. It's a refresher for you because you just saw it. And you've seen this for me a couple times. We got this on attempt 1. Alright. Alright. You got me. Alright. Alright. Ooh. Ooh. Boom. Give me squat. Yeah. Woo! See that, coach? No. Next step comes out. Pace on. Oh, that. Roger. push that six pack. Gotta get it. Gotta get it. Gotta get it. Yeah. We going for a fourth, coach? He says for a fourth. That's tiring. What was different? Everything. Everything's different.
I totally saw you up there too, John.
Yeah, I thought of John.
A little bit of John, a little bit of Roger.
100%.
What, no, Austin?
I didn't even walk on the platform to say. Now you guys can make fun of me. So, I like to highlight that with people, make a little light of it, make it a little fun. We all do our quirky stuff, it's fun. I still don't understand this. I don't get that one. Pray to God, do whatever you want, it's fine. But, start thinking, what can I take out of my set? If I have a quirky 15 step, please just make it a quirky 5 step. 10 of them probably weren't helping you. And then, can you just knock it down to like 1 or 2 quirks, please? For the love of God. It's less to think about. When it's heavy, there's a lot going on out here. And if every time, here's my point, if every time I'm doing something different, how's my body supposed to become that robot? I'm not. I'm different. People give me a hard time for sniffing too much ammonia. I've had a lot of head trauma, guys. So I probably should. Spent a lot of years in the gym, had a lot of concussions, a lot of fighting. I've already lost a lot of brain cells, so you don't do this. What's a couple more hits off the ammonia can? But it's not that I like to lift jacked up, because I do. Nothing more fun to me than me alone in the gym with no one around and the music off and me getting to take all my aggression out on a big deadlift. It's my happy place. Leave me alone, don't talk to me. We're not putting on social media, there's no music going, it's quiet, just me and the plates. It's my happy place. If you see me do that, it's gonna look the exact same. I'm a creature of habit, and I encourage you guys to do that. That's why people give me a hard time when I grow. Like 3 months out, are you hitting ammonia on your top set? I actually hit it on 3 sets. So I'm thinking about the platform, right? I'm visualizing my platform success 3 months out. The fighters that I used to work with on a high level, they eat, sleep, breathe visualization. Top Olympic athletes, guaranteed. Weightlifters, powerlifters, not so much. Right? Start thinking about it. It's a very powerful tool. So for me, whether I'm in the gym or not, platform, if you see me lifting, you're in the gym. Got about 3 minutes to go. If you see me on a knee, I'm not sitting right there. Me and that bar are having a conversation. Marking Mason. Second tip, I do a little bit more. Third tip, I do a little bit more. People stay out of my lane. It's not a nice time on that. 2 out. Hear my chocolate. Hands are probably in my belt just like this. I can go through the setup in my head. My feet are tapping. Boom! Start to get myself there. When it's my time, my platform's ready. 2 weird corks I have. There's 1 or 2 things here. I don't watch, like hear it click. So I give a couple clicks. I already know it's tight. I've got my chop in my hands. Kids don't do this at home. I only can.
I moved it.
Plates have been checked. I have my top with the bar. Hand placement, that's my line you guys will see. It's the last word I have at the bar. grab midfoot. Why that's important? A lot of people, good morning, the bar out of the rack. And it's not bad for you, but I promise when you get really strong, you're gonna go unlock your third attempt. That's gonna be the difference of, that's really heavy, or man, that felt light, I'm gonna smoke this. I'm going up 100 pounds on that third. Yeah, buddy. And even me, I know that I was capable of lifting for a lot of years. When I unrack a heavy attempt in the gym or on the platform, and it feels heavy, I'm really good at shutting down. But I'll tell you, I'm thinking about it, like, oh man, this was a good decision today. Versus when I'm under that bar, and it pops off, I'm like, nothing will stop me. It feels way different. I used to live multiply, and I promise, when you're in front, and you step back and that happens, because you were in front of the bar, you're really second guessing your life decisions. It's simple. Make sure midfoot's under the bar. So, when we're under the bar, let's skip that and let's get right to here. I have a pretty easy cheat because I know exactly where this is. So I line up on combo. Whatever. Grab midfoot. Here is your last place to fix any alignment issue you have. I'm talking this. Draw my ribcage down, my head so it's neutral, right? You can already see my posture here. The bar's already floating off. I know it's just a bar, but if I had 300, 400, 500 pounds on here and I really set up, it would start to float off. Similar to a deadlift. Brace. What do we do after a brace?
Breathe.
Breathe. Root my feet, engage my lats. Stand tall. Step hold. Step hold. Lateral step hold. If I'm not a wide stance squatter, I can probably get away with 2 steps. Step hold. Step hold. We're very specific on the 3-step walkout because what we don't want is this. It's a big waste of energy, I promise. The shorter steps we can get, they're very rigid too, and I'm holding them upright. My walkout is crisp. There's less time under tension. I'm going to get that squat command from the referee sooner because I'm not fumbling around here. And I'll tell you, I've walked out heavy squats before. This on the platform sucks. When we're underneath and it's very stable, again, less time I have to hold my max weight. Ref gives me squat, I squat, everything's good. Fidgeting, all this sucks. One of the most common things, you see so many steps in the squat. Learn to clean them up. 3 steps, 2 steps. If we're working with a single ply guy who's really wide, and they need that extra 4th out, that's it. We gotta learn to lock our feet in when they land. Step back, lateral step hold, lateral step hold. I should step in my toe angle. I don't want to get to my stance and then move my feet around. It's wasting time and energy. And the more I do that, the more opportunity I have to deviate position somewhere under the bar. Right? So heavy weights we're lifting. We want that on and off our back as soon as possible. So bathroom setup, step 0, alignment. That includes my hands. I'm going to make sure my midfoot is over the bar. The easiest way to do that is here. My posture. Brace. Breathe into the brace. Engage my lats, root my feet, stand tall. 1 step hold. Very specific on the hold. Lateral step hold. Lateral step hold. Here's our last chance before things get real. Use this step to reinforce. And I don't want to say re-brace because we should have unbraced, right? Can I brace harder? If I feel myself pushing my belt more, cool, I did better. Do I need air? If not, can I breathe in more to the belt? If yes, cool. Make sure my feet are rooted, my lats are engaged, my head is in good position. Last chance to reinforce that. Then we have one easy job. Here squat, execute. And it should look very about. We hold position. In all of our setups, squat, bench, and deadlift. All we have to do is set it up. Then we have one simple job, hold position. I was to miss a squat, should look like this. Or like this. 90% of the misses we see out here, they're like, thank you, spotters. Thank you. It's not pretty. Right? This happens, this happens, this happens. We've got to get out of those postures. That's the easiest way to hurt yourself lifting. Bench deadlift as well. Robotic, execute. You saw how hard I set up after I smacked myself in the head with this ammonia can. One, because I'm trying to make it real for you guys. If I set up, when I'm training, with one red, it's going to be that volume dial. It's going to be about 70% of that. When I hit my heaviest load for the day, I don't care if it's a competition, back off, triple, at 80%, that's all I'm allowing myself to do for that day, I'm going to treat it like it's a 650 squat on the platform. I'm going to make it real for me. I'm going to take it to my intensity level. It's going to be hard. Holding that through that bar was hard. You saw me dump the bar. I was out of breath. Wait till you see my bench setup. And that's the way it should be, especially on the platform. Questions about the squat setup? Cool. Again, on my YouTube channel, with permission, we shared it. It's one of kind of our teaser videos. But you can see the squat, bench, and deadlift setup from the coaching cert level 1 with the USPA. Everything I just covered in a 20-minute video. There's your resource to play time and time again to make this good. Now, here's the caveat. You can do some things slightly out of order, and I should never say that, but I always do. Hopefully you'll agree with me on this. Can I make sure I have optimal IAP here? Cool. Never had anybody say yes. Thinking one of these days I'm going to get a sleeper. And be like, yes. No. That should happen before we interact. Right? We all know that. Right? If I pay attention to the rooting of my feet before the bar comes out, and then I brace, and then I breathe into my brace, is that bad? No, it's not. Right? Our old Kabuki strength material, foot is number 2 importance of all of our movement. It's very, very important. It's more dominant than hip and more dominant than shoulder. So if you need to check that out first, you can really focus on your brace, that's fine. But you get it. The rest of the order, you can't really do things differently. You can't walk out, can't actually, it's going to advise it, and then try to get optimal alignment and breathe and brace. It's not going to work that well for you. It's not. I personally had a completely different setup, and I used to coach a different setup. Like I said, I was a multi-ply lifter, and I prided myself on how much I knew about the squat, and my squat setup was like 17.5 steps. Great. You came into my gym, I tell you everything about the squat, and you were like, dude. And I'm like, okay, let's go through it. I'm like, you can't remember step 3? It's number 3. And you're like, right. Where was I supposed to pray? Like, there's too much going on here. I don't know. There's a lot of details. That's why I like 5, as minimal as possible. Same thing, fix your quirky stuff you do, right? I smack myself in the head, because I don't like when people hit me. I used to let my training partner hit me, and then I let a couple other people smack me after me. Again, I fought a lot, been injured a lot, I hit really hard. Ask somebody to hit me hard, and they give me a little pat, pat, pat. And now I'm like, all my juju's gone from the second thing. And if somebody actually hits me, it's a little more than I want. I'm fine over there. I told you to hit me kind of hard. I was hard to cook. So that's the only reason I do that quirky stuff. I control, right, my intensity level. That's the other thing I'll tell you guys with your squat setup. You need to control your arousal curve. I see so many lifters going 110% on their opener. They're so jacked up back there. I'm like, what are you doing? They're getting fired up for their last warm-ups. We only have so much of that meat. I don't care how good of a lifter you are. The better lifter you are, the more experience you have, the stronger you get. You get better, you can learn to dial it up a little bit more, but you only have so much. Your nervous system's more fried, you're lifting more weight. You only have so much go juice that day. I promise. We need to treat that like a good curve. So as soon as we go too far over the barrel curve, I don't care who you are, it's done. I like Platform ready, tasing his athletes. Not too many of them got 30 deadlifts that day, I'm just saying. Makes sense.
I would kick you in the shin.
I hope you would. Only in the shins?
Yeah.
Like,
There's children here.
you know, you gotta come back at first, right? Get a good taser from my buddy Scott here, I'm laying on the floor twitching. What makes you think, yes, nervous system accurate, right? Smelling salts. It works. Taser, you gotta pay attention to what we're doing. You go over that bell curve, you're drooling on the floor and you can't move. It's not gonna help, right? So pay attention to that. First attempt, second attempt, third attempt, it should all be slightly higher. And if you don't train that way in the gym, the first time you hit smelling salts for your third attempt, unless coach is going for a Hail Mary, you're not used to it. You need to understand, you need to practice like you're gonna compete. You compete like you practice. Squat questions. Yeah. I'm not allowed to do Planet Fitness anywhere. May or may not be banned from that place.
More of a badge of honor, ain't it?
Yeah, alright, come on up, buddy, and have a squat. Just go ahead and hold on for a couple of reps. One of the biggest problems I see reffing across the U.S., if I had to give you two generals, is too tight of a belt, too many athletes creating upper back tension, belts very tight. I know, I was talking with an athlete about it the other day in San Diego. Very, very tight upper back, feels great. You have nowhere to breathe when everything's up here. It feels tight, tension in your traps and here to here, your spine, does not do anything for tying your rib cage to your pelvis, to your legs. I like to use car analogies. I like fast cars a lot. Not everybody does, but I think most people get this. Right? Imagine I've got a race car, like a big race car, like a funny car, with big old tires, massive engine, thousands of horsepower, and I go to the track with Prius tires on. Do you think I'm going to go anywhere fast? No. The engine didn't change. Here's the epiphany with it. It didn't get weaker. The thing probably doesn't even have traction control on it. It cannot produce its power to the ground because it doesn't connect. We can talk about suspension and transmissions. You can think about this the same way. Let's keep going, warm stuff up a bit. If this is not rigid, we have this massive engine, and we can't produce power. A race car's not doing it. Most people can simply out leg press their squat because there's not a stability factor through the spine. It's pretty simple, right? Makes it pretty easy. When we can organize this in a good position, and we lock it in, and we have a foolproof setup that doesn't pull us out of position, now we have a better chance using this large engine, our horsepower, to go fast. When most people can learn to get out of this and relax their upper back, find a wider grip, get out of this position, might feel awkward. Squats usually go up. The other one that I see a lot, my number 2, going across the U.S. Whatever you want. When they switch to a low bar position, or they're trying to go too low bar because their friend told them they squat bar, and they walk out and they're in this position. I cannot give you a start command if you're here. I have to give you a replace command. And more so than that, I already told you, I don't like to throw red lights. I hate it. I just want athletes to have a great meet and hit PRs. But certain rules are not only there for the rule book, certain rules are there to keep a lifter safe. I cringe on that because I know what's happening to your spine and how hard it is to hold this position. And I wait for you because I have to get in a good position to start the squat. And you don't, so I have to bring you in, tell you what you did wrong, and then have you walk out and try to do it again. Good luck on your third tip. Your low back is smokes. Right? We use the cue stand tall. I know somebody asked about cues, so I'm going to give you a couple cues. Our cue stand tall is one of our favorite cues. And it's funny, if I take people out of the squat rack and we're just talking squats over here, I'm like, hey buddy, give me your best position you can, best posture. almost everybody has, you know, they're not the best, they fix it, they stand pretty good. I'm like, cool, just stand tall. And they do. And they walk out with a bar on their back. I'm like, all right, stand tall. Stand tall. Damn, coach. They don't understand because the load on their back is exactly where they're at. You show them on video from the side, they're like, wow, that really was bent over, huh? Yeah, work. Stand tall fixes a lot of problems. On that. Don't have to make it perfect. We'll carry you through a set here, right? And actually, once you get that bad position, once you walk out, soft knees are their only thing here, right? We're just talking to get up the back. And give me some forward postures. So, I wouldn't do this with all of my clients or people who knows where I'm gonna go with this. In the gym, if this is all I get, I'm gonna encourage my athlete to stand tall. And I might help them when I stand tall. There. I'm showing them where tall is. Literally gonna help pick my athlete up by their head. Look at how much this has improved. I can easily give a squat command here, but get a couple reps. May not be as perfect as I want. I'm already tweaking him weekly and monthly. I want to get a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, but it's much better than where his start position was at when we first saw it. Back when we were ready. In the squat, I see a lot of people walk out, and the first thing they do, whether they're here or in a good position, is they lose the brace, back to that can analogy, they crumple the can, they look pretty good, and they're like, oh, they got it, and then they go down. We do not need to keep our head and chest up in the squat. I love watching the belt. Whether it's videos of clients remote or in person, I can see this line right here. As soon as this happens, I know he dumped into an anterior tilt right away. There's no way Scott can beat him up about it. Where your belt's moving in the video. I need you to maintain that tension as you descend into the hole. So, in my humble opinion, high bar is easier to squat. Not for everybody, but for the actual art of squatting. Because you just kind of go up and down. If I put my heels up here on this thing, I can pretend I'm a weightlifter for a day or two, and I can squat like they do. I'm jealous. Not everybody can move like that. I am not a high bar squatter. I don't like it. But again, it's easier movement. Where a lot of people struggle is that cue, head up, chest up. And when we do that, it turns into this. It's even worse. I promise it is okay to look at the floor. Not where you were though, Bella. To clarify, we don't want to unrack like this, set up, and then get ready to squat. There is deviation and movement there, right? If this is where we actually go, there's a free tip for all you guys. Watch yourself on video, or your clients on video, regardless of how they set up, and then right before they squat, they get their life together, and then descend in a pretty good squat. Why wouldn't you just start there? If that's where your body knows where it's going to go before you go down with heavy weights, why are we not just starting there? But we do these weird things when we unrack, right? Where it is okay to look at the floor, back to the high bar, everyone is different. Hinge mechanics in the squat are different. If we high bar, most people can sink pretty much straight down, especially if we have heels elevated. Depends on limb lengths and shoes wearing and a couple other things. But it is okay to hinge into the squat. I have a couple friends that are not great squatters, they're not built to squat, and they're pretty good morning to the bottom of the squat. But on the way down, they transition into that, they quickly transition out. They do not come out of the hole here and finish the squat. That's a different problem. Why that's okay? Because some people are not built to hold this stacked position in the squat as they descend. If they don't tip forward at a certain angle, they will never be able to hold this position. It's going to turn into this. And I promise you will have hip flexor issues, hip pain, and you're risking your low back and your discs almost every single rep. It's not worth it. Head should be packed. I'm going to try to buy a position. The squat should be the same. Under the bar, this is neutral. If I'm a high bar squatter, don't look at my heels, I can't get there. If I'm a low bar squatter that hinges like I actually have to for my body position, my eyes are here. That's okay. Quickly, my eyes are here. Unwrap, walk out, squat. This shouldn't move at all. So, he's already checking his alignment. Every single set. Most important thing here is his feet under the bar. So he knows where he's at. He adjusts the bar in his back and his hands in placement here. This is all part of his alignment. Even if we're jacked up on our third attempt and we're super excited, this should be the calm before the storm. This was his last chance to organize this and this, and you saw him do a pretty good job of it. I'm going to use some extra weight here. Brace. If I need to check my client or my friend in person, I can here, actually in squat rack. Breathe into that brace. Nice work. Barbell in rise. Nothing happened. Breathe back for the same height. A little more tension. You got more. Little pressure. This here, this is really light for him, so it's just coming right out. So I'm putting some extra down pressure. There's tension here. If I let go, this bar is going to come up. Do not rush your unwrap. Stand tall. Hold. You guys heard me talk about these. Step hold. I'm already beating him up on this. Only step. Step hold. Step hold. Lateral step. Hold. Adjust feet if you need to. Here's where we reinforce everything. This is a long time, so it's a good example. He's got to breathe here. He's doing a great job of it. You can see it coming here when you're ready to execute. Just using my guy here as a different body. That's all your first ball.
Who?
You talking to me?
Donna?
Oh, thank God. Feel some weights.
What's your, I have a question. Did you go over shoes at all?
No, but I will right now.
What's your opinion on lifters versus flat?
I don't like my buddy's shoes.
No.
He already knows. I don't wear barefoots anymore. I used to because I was sponsored by them, so I wore their shoes everywhere. Now that I have to pay, I bought these off Amazon because they're cheap. I'll be quite honest with you. There's a lot of good shoes out there. Brumos, Barefoot Athletics is my favorite shoe. These are pretty thin. They were $40 off Amazon and they're pretty flat. And I'm not talking about the heel rise right now. I'm talking about the flatness of the shoe. Actually, let's do it. Hopefully you guys are not squatting in these shoes. Right? This is not a squat shoe. It's a canoe. It's rounded. It's not designed for squatting. This is okay for general exercise and activity. This is not good for squatting. These shoes are not either. His are a little worn in. Toes up. Toe and heels up. These actually do have a little toe rise. I know a couple people check in with barefoots. But if you drop a barefoot shoe, brand, on the floor, it's like a piece of paper. It's one of the flattest shoes there is. Right? Some shoes are pretty flat. The problem is, we used to demo this, I'll just tell you it's true. If I put my guy up there on the bench, and put my fingers underneath just like I did the belt, and totally trust my fingers, I could probably always pull my hand out. These are barefoots, you ain't getting your hand back, bro. It's not happening. So, we do know now, most everybody will agree, the foot, back to our car tire analogy, should be a very wide race car tire flat on the floor. This is not a good squat. I'll jump up here. This is not a good squat. This is not a good squat. That's certainly not a good squat. Most of us would agree nowadays the foot should be flat on the floor, right? So we need to find a shoe that optimizes that. The other problem I have with shoes like this, old school Chuck Taylors, those used to be the shoe back in the day, they have 3/4 of an inch of rubber underneath them, about as much as this one. This is like an 1/8 of an inch. Barefoots are like a 1/16. I want to be as close to the ground as possible, even when you squat. Less for squatting than deadlifting, but yes, right? Deadlifting for sure. Now it's interesting because I do see some weightlifters who wear their lifting shoes, their raised heels, to deadlift on the platform. And every time they come out, I'm like, I want to help you right now. Now, if you are a real weightlifter that does some powerlifting, you can probably pull your max deadlift 5 because that's how you pull. Weightlifters deadlift in weightlifting shoes because they don't need to deadlift as much as us. Their deadlift just needs to be quite a bit heavier for them to do high pulls and things like that, and to catch power cleans and snatches. They don't need to deadlift as much as we do. It puts you in not an optimal position. Anything we do to raise our foot off the floor, we might as well just pull it. It's not going to help you at all. So, shoes do make a big difference. The other, what size shoe are you? So, you can see my foot does not fit in that shoe. It's going to cramp my foot in. My biggest problem with lifters is their toe box is small. Aaron and his team at Squat U and TDR, who they partnered up with, the first wide toe box weightlifting shoe on earth. I wish Adidas and Nike and everybody else would. Our U.S. weightlifting team would appreciate that, right? But they're so cramped. The first thing I look for is thin, flat, and then does it fit my foot? If I step on my shoe, can I spread my foot wide? There you go. In the gym, I'm going to tell you to train barefoot. Now, as far as lifters go, the biggest misconception with weightlifting shoes is when I have mobility issues, and I think that by putting on weightlifting shoes is going to make me more flexible. I hear it all the time. It's not, I promise. If you have mobility issues, it's going to help you hit the deck. The problem is, one of my warm-ups that I showed you guys, nice deep goblet squat. I don't squat like this with my upper back. It's just a nice warm-up for my knees and my hips to move around here, right? I can barely even hold my heels on the floor down here. The back's routed, it's not great. I use that for my stretch, right? My heels elevated. It's as simple as it gets. My heels elevated. We measured my shin angle here. When I remove that, you can see already right here the difference. By lifting without an elevated heel, you are putting your ankle through a greater range of motion. So if you have ankle mobility, squat mobility issues, you need to do some squats out of your weightlifting shoes, or you're going to make your problem worse. I see so many lifters, they go to warm up, knee sleeves are on, Olympic lifting shoes are on, and they haven't even touched the bar, done any movement prep yet. Even some of my friends who have all-time world record holders who lift in lifters on the platform, most of the season they're in barefoots or training barefoot, at least doing their accessory barefoot. My magic rule of thumb is warm up barefoot up to about 50% of that day's working load, then go ahead and put your lifters on. Even if you're not hitting optimal depth, that's totally fine. Put your lifters on, things are getting heavier, find your depth. Does that answer all your shoe questions?
Meh.
Other questions about it?
Well, what if you have good ankle mobility? Is there a point to still wearing lifters, or should you just try to do a flat shoe? So my problem is, my weight is heavy, and now I've come to start dumping forward just the smallest bit, and it throws off my whole squat.
You are in raised heels, right?
I was in Vegas, and now I've been lifting in flat in my deadlift shoes.
Is it better?
Yeah, I haven't dumped forward at all.
So, Some people squat in race heels just because they are told it's a squat shoe.
Right.
It's actually not a squat shoe, it's a weightlifting shoe. That's what it's designed for. It's designed for Olympic lifting, not squatting. And they do a lot more than just squatting. Actually a lot easier to receive a clean and a snatch in the very bottom of depth with a weightlifting shoe on regardless of who you are. But so many people overuse them. Some people are great in them. High bar squatters that have big quads and are built to squat really well generally do very well in them. If you're more of a low bar squatter and you're posterior dominant, you're not going to do so well. But I bring up high bar for you because it's right back to the same question. I can't tell you, train both, and you're at that point right now in your own training. If all of a sudden flats feel better and you quit tipping over, you answered your own question. If you're always in flats and you put on lifters and your squat just feels good and you get 15 pounds PR, probably answered your own question.
What about if you have an anatomical deficiency?
In which way?
Like your foot?
What is with it?
I broke my ankle, didn't go get it set in.
Yeah.
So it healed crooked. So it's not conducive for me to walk, try and do the squat without my shoes on because my foot's not in the same anatomical position.
Yeah. Worked with a lot of military guys who missing pieces or, been through a lot of trauma, we'll just say, and a lot of masters athletes, not even youth athletes, so like I got hit by a car on my bicycle. The only time a lot of this changes is when you have a true anatomical difference. And I'm sorry, I don't need to be up on chiropractors because I know some really good ones, but if your chiropractor tells you your hip is longer without any actual MRI or true measurement, your hip probably wasn't longer. Probably tell you that because it was out of place and they yanked on it, it popped back in, and now they're level. It doesn't mean your femur is longer than the other. I have met a couple people with really weird anatomical differences from birth. Had a guy that just came to Looking Strength Lab before the gym quit and the company changed, and his leg legit was 1.5 inches. Like his lift in all of the shoes from his doctor was this much on the whole shoe. It was crazy. He had some custom barefoots made, right, to map that out. Everything changes with those anatomical differences, right? You have a really bad broken ankle and you have a strap go in there, or metal from the surgeon, right? You may never find maximum mobility, but you need to work at it all the time. Those things do change. All right, let's walk through squat setup again. So we already know alignments here in rack. We're making sure that hand placement is identical every single time. Again, there's no reason to be hyped up here. Mid-foot under the bar. We have a nice placement here. I'll walk you through slow again. Here's our last chance to fix things. Head looks pretty good here. Rib cage over pelvis. Can we crunch that in at all? Can we find more? We have nice alignment. From here, we find that good brace. Brace. Breathe into that brace. Feet should be rooted. Lats are tight. Everything's tight here. Global tension. Now is when that tension comes into the feet. Stand. Step hold. Step hold. If needed, lateral step hold. If you need it, just adjustment. From here, been working on this for a lot. Can I make things better? It's only 1/2 inch, but it changed this. Reinforced brace. Reinforced breath. Cognizant of our rooting our feet. Squat. Crack when you're ready. Just give it a curve to you guys so you can see a different body underneath it. We all looked different. Our hands were different. Our elbows were different. Everything was different. I don't care if she's running a small squat program. He's doing Westside Conjugate and I'm 5x5. The program doesn't matter, guys. Set up your squat for you. I put 3 different bodies out here so you can see 3 different body squats slightly different. The setup doesn't change. How methodical we walk through those steps doesn't change at all. Last minute squat question.
You got low enough.
I did.
Yep.
We talked about it before, but turning your foot, what's the pros and cons of turning your foot for the mobility portion?
Good question. In longer seminars, I make everybody do this demo so they can feel it. Stand here to get better visual, at least from the front. So, one of the biggest problems I see is actually this angle. We talk a lot about it in level 1 seminar, a lot more in level 2 in person. This angle is key. Too many times you have depth issues, and coaches are like, well, just go wide. You're too narrow. The athlete goes out here. Maybe they now have a knee pain issue or some hip pain. Things aren't any different per se. It's not always this. I prefer to alter this very last. Most people, they think about a heavy squat, get in a stance that feels pretty good for their body. Yes, at a very high level, we can always tweak things. One of the most powerful tools I've ever used as a coach is, I don't know, we're just going to try 3 different things. So if I go here, fairly close to my stance, and again, I'm not great overhead right now because I'm super tight, but I used to weight lift. If I'm catching a clean or a snatch, this isn't my exact stance, but it's fairly close. So I can hit depth here-ish, with one caveat. Watch this. I can go down. Don't know if you guys saw that. Try to match an exact stance. It's not pretty at all. Notice I'm not stepping wider. Femur is staying directly underneath here. Pivot, pivot. Hey, not bad. If I could still reach my arms overhead, I could smash right there. I just can't reach overhead. I keep doing that, I can hit that. My back's going to give me problems. I promise I'll have hip pain. One simple adjustment. Good. It's upright. I'm no longer running to my own femur. When we work with super heavyweights, when we work with strongmen who are big and have big belly, big quads, they're running into their own thighs. Even if I'm out here, I have so much mass, I'm running into my own thighs. That doesn't mean I now need to learn to jam myself in here and force to hit depth. I'm already wide. Open up your hips. Belly has room to go. Same, some people are out here and they just have hip pain. And all they need to do is alter the rotation, internal and external of the femur. And they hit it with no pain. I'm not the best in the middle, but the drill I like to run in full length seminars, I'll put everybody in 2 lines and I'll make groups squat and watch each other. And there's always 1 or 2 people that stands out. There's somebody that can squat here and hit depth with perfect spinal alignment. Then somebody that can squat here, same person, hit depth, better than that with perfect spinal alignment. And then usually where about most people are. So my down and dirty, especially if I'm teaching classes for squats, everybody squats here. Notice how it feels. Everybody squats ugly wide. Notice how it feels. Somewhere in between. What works best for you? Then we add internal external rotation. Within 5 squats, we can optimize our position. I've educated a lot on the hip socket and the femur. The difference in morphology is crazy between men and women, for obvious reasons, childbirth, right? But also with ethnicity. If you don't believe me, just Google it. There's a ton more research on it. The femur head changes depending on where in the world you were born at, or your ancestors were born at. So does the depth of the hip capsule. What does that mean? Some people should never squat here because they have this long head and deep sockets. And they're the people you see who you're kind of jealous on the platform. They stand this wide and they nail super deep depth. Me and you try to match it, and that's never working for us, right? There's always that one in a seminar. And then I pull them up. They can hit ass to grass here, here, and here. And I'm super jealous. Most of us can't. We need to fine-tune that ideal stance. Another great way to practice it, just like we are in a squat, high bar, low bar, tweak it a little bit. If you have what's working, it's not causing pain, utilize it for you and your clients, or a different stance for your clients, but utilize that stance. If we tweak it on a secondary day and it feels better all of a sudden, if all of a sudden that starts getting stronger, your body told you where it wanted to be, right? We were talking about grades earlier. This is like an easy A, right? It's not rocket science, guys. Owie, no owie. You overthink it way too many times. Make it simple. Yes, we can really geek out on it, but make it simple. All right, guys, let's talk some benchy stuff. Yeah.
On squats, going back to weekday squats, you talked about in your cert about, if you have a miss rack while you're on the platform, you can then put it back as long as they haven't said squat, is that?
Correct.
Like they tell you time because you need to, or is that?
I've never seen.
You're within your time.
I've never seen anybody really overuse that rule. It did change, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. It was no time limit. So if my bar's loaded and I'm not ready to go, they yell platform ready, and I got 3 seconds left, I can do that. It stops the clock. Old rule. Then there was no time limit. And they changed it. Is it 30 seconds? Minute? 30 now?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's
sounds right in my
32.
head, 30. It's not unlimited, but when I see that, if anybody's milking the clock because they weren't ready, they're so amped still now, ready to fix what's going on. They're right back on it probably a little sooner than they should.
Yeah, it's more in that case. If you
Yeah.
like actually.
You have as much time. If it's off though, that stopped the clock and you're like, this is just trying to do the thing he said, it just doesn't feel right. You step back and you're like, okay, got this. Okay, it's crooked, do this, and step back underneath. Nobody's gonna mess with you on the front. Like, you're trying to make an adjustment. And that's important to say because so many times, I said this early on, but I didn't show it in squat. If step 3 is not good, don't do step 5. Don't even pass to step number 4. Doesn't make sense. If this just isn't feeling good, reset. Step 1's not there. It's okay. It's time on the clock. You're fine. Especially if this is your second, third attempt. Get in a position where you feel good. The same is true on bench. Deadlift is a little bit different. But if you go out there, as long as you don't make a very violent attempt to pull the bar off the floor, if you go to set up and it's just not right, don't rush it. Step back. You gotta watch the clock on deadlift because I can't stop the clock. Reset. Make yourself comfortable. It's so rare I see it on the platform. You'll rush, 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 rush.
Another thing to keep in mind, when the rep does reset you, or they say to re-rack it, okay, they're doing it from a safety standpoint. No one wants to see anyone get hurt. No one wants to see anyone in a bad position when they do that, and we don't like to give out red lights. Okay, so they'll tell you to rack it. But I've seen it where you tell someone to re-rack their bar, and they're already in their zone, they're already pumped up, they re-rack it, and they're just poopy now. And understand that we did that from a safety point.
I'm gonna piggyback off that real quick, it's an important point. You should be doing it from a safety standpoint. And this is not just platform. It blows my mind how many times in a gym I have an athlete, I'll ask them, hey, what was up with that rep? It's just in the gym, or I see a video from somebody, you didn't do this to me yet, but if I see a video from a client, and I'm like, what was going on with this? And they're like, oh, it felt really trash, it was horrible. Why did you walk it out and squat it? Oh, I was busy and I want to get it over with, because it felt like garbage. That's why it felt like garbage. Because you knew it felt like garbage and you still did it. Damn, I told you my knee's hurting again too. Imagine that. But we rush in the gym almost more than we do on the platform. I want the mindset of what he just said, safety. I have to keep you safe on the platform. That's my job. The spotters help me keep you safe. If it doesn't feel good, fix the problem before you make a bigger one. Make it safe. Good question. All right, guys, let's talk bench. So, in bench, I'm going to, I'll set up here again, but I want to show a very powerful demo here. People don't understand retraction and depression. There's always a big argument, should we be retracting or depressing scapula? And I'm going to give you the quick version here. So, you're very quick and down to the strength coaches usually is, do we start with our shoulder blades retracted or depressed? Big argument. I will tell you the correct answer right now and we'll just move on. It's depression. I hate to tell you this, but both do happen. It's key which one happens first. Depression at the bottom of the bench. If you disagree with me, you still got your way. Retraction happens. If we start in retraction, you lock up scapular function, and as you bring the bar down, I'm not even that big of a dude, the only way I get a touch is a dump. Guaranteed shoulder problems and pretty good chance of tearing a pec in the future if you're strong. Gotta get out of that locked position. Right? Check this out. Middle of the row. Check this out. Bench press. Told you I got to give you guys a couple epiphanies. It's like bracing. Just got to get good at understanding the shoulders. Have your athletes, for fun, one day and one day only, retract their shoulder blades as hard as they can, and do a bunch of overhead press. This shoulder's mad, I'm not even going to go any higher. It's not going to work well. Scapular function is natural. Look at ring gymnasts. They're going through about everything. Elevation, depression, protraction, retraction. You get them on the bar doing crazy flippy stuff and it's even worse. Fighters. I'm blocking shots over here and here. They're forward, they're back, they're down, they're up. It's flowing, it's natural. Locking your shoulder blades in place is not natural. We need them to be anchored in depression and to be able to flow naturally. Give you guys a quick drill, and then I'll give a demo. So I want everybody to raise their arms up for me. And the first thing you're going to do is squeeze your shoulder blades together as hard as you can. Hard. They have cramp. Right? So we're in the zombie squat position. You guys aren't squeezing hard enough. I can see it on the face side. Squeeze them. Reach across and push on your other pec. Keep squeezing. Don't cheat. A little soft, right? Check it out.
No. Mine's tight.
Yeah, you're not squeezing my shoulder. Now, zombie squat position. You press. Reach across. Oh.
I was already depressed, sorry.
You're doing it right. You're not listening. Boy, that bench press is feeling so good right now.
Jumped ahead.
So, again, one of these major epiphanies, if you have a client, or you just needed to remind yourself why this is not ideal, this, your other quick anatomy lesson. Protractor of the scapula. This is a bad place to bench, I promise. But it protracts. Retract, depression. Look what else the pec does in depression. Look at that. It does its job. You have other stabilizers and rotators and internal and all that. We're not getting into a complete anatomy lesson. The two biggest depressors of the scapula are the pec and the lat. So, when I retract my scapula, past neutral, my pec lengthens. That's why it's soft. So do you want to bench press without 70% of your optimal pec? Or do you want to bench press from here? Becomes a no-brainer. You're killing me. Gonna put 100 pounds on that bench. Another way to see that differently visually. So, I'll tell you the drill since you haven't done this one, I've seen it before. I'm laying on the bench with this over my head. And you're going to walk out. Safe word is safe word. Okay? Whatever you do, don't let go. And I promise I will not let go of the other one. So. What this shows, I promise I'm not going to try my beat you. I win all drills with my clients. Right? I'm not allowed to win. So I'm not just going to give up on one. I'm going to work. Okay? Full bench setup, brace, everything. I'm not sweaty yet, so I shouldn't slide too much. We're only going to do this twice. The first time is holding the barbell with maximum, I'm going to work hard. He can't beat me, I already told you. Maximum scapular retraction. I'm jamming my shoulder blades together, I'm going to make that cramp. That shelf feels so nice. My bench is gonna be so big. He's gonna try to pull my arms away from me. That's his only drill. We're tied, right? So we're safe, and he's just gonna walk back. He's gonna walk back pretty far. And I'm gonna use my safe one. The second time, the only difference I'm doing is scapular depression. Let's see what happens. It's been a couple years since I did this drill, so we'll see. Maximum contraction.
Yeah. I like it.
Bench, brace, into the bench, come back. Go ahead and pull. Pull. Come on.
Let go.
Safe
You're
work.
doing the
Stay
move,
there.
wasn't it?
Watch, look where he's at. Arc his feet. Okay, let go. How far back you made it?
Second hole. Pull your chair.
Put that. Little tension for me, just a little bit. Depression. With leg drive. Brace. Breathe into the brace. Go. Safe work. Come on back.
Same spot. No difference.
You lost.
I was a little scared about your bands than I was me. The furthest back I've had somebody take me with big bands is so far that my butt's come up. I've had bench press position. My butt's come up, the lat doesn't go anywhere. You saw how much harder I worked. The other one was harder for me to hold position. That was actually pretty easy for me to hold position. Everything we teach is global tension. That wasn't that hard. I was worried about hitting the bands. Like, holding that was much easier. You saw the shape, and I worked harder, but which one would allow me to have optimal position or optimal chance to create massive force? You guys pick, right? And that's a mind-blowing drill. That's why I like doing some of these bigger, stupid human tricks. Because I can tell you all day long, don't do this. And sometimes we just not need to see it not in a bench press. But when you can see the strength difference, I did not let him win on the first one, I promise. And once, that's why I finished with that one. So, it's a big difference. It's super hard to hold that. Lats can't even do their job. Right? Think about how that translates to your bench press. It's big. Bench pressy questions. We're going to cover setup real quick. That's huge. Most people, there's a big argument about it. We do this, we do this. You do both. Again, it's just that setup series. This has to happen, and I promise you at the bottom this will happen naturally, and you press out of it. You'll bench press more. Cool. She wanted to clap. I'll take it. Thought I'd get more clapping when you stand on me on the bench press. I'll go ahead and bench backwards in this, but you guys will be able to see set up pretty well. We'll take 5. Make sure you guys are staying hydrated. And we'll deadlift. Alright, so set up. Very, very similar to bench. Who remembers what step 0 is? Yeah. It's the easiest step. This is a squat bar, obviously, but it's loaded, so I'm just going to leave it on here. In the gym, at home, whatever. On the platform, I walk up. Plates are even. Got good alignment. Back forward. Pretty simple. I'm not a fan of swinging back through this way. Swinging through the back door. It's not wrong. It's a strategy. I know a lot of big people, you do it, you smile at me.
You mean like back towards the spotter?
Swing through this way.
Oh, no. I thought you
Set up
meant
this setup.
standing back.
because back to setup consistency, I see more variance with placement this way and placement under the bar this way than any other setup. And then you switch benches or gyms, and then it's even more different. So that's the only reason I don't like it. There's one other very, very big fault that happens with a normal setup or that one, and it's creating this coiled spring, and then letting go of it. Right? We get all packed and ready, and then we completely let go, and then try to get packed and ready again to move some things. It's not efficient. Goes back to that. I now have a 15 setup for my bench, 15 step. Can I just set up in 5 steps? Promise it'll be easier. Promise it will. So we've already got alignment. Regardless of how you get to the bar, we'll talk foot placement here real quick too. I'm feet on the bench kind of guy. My alignment this way. My golden rule of thumb always used to be eyeballs. About 5 years ago I changed that. Nose to mouth. It's just more efficient. I don't see anybody here that has a super long neck. Every once in a while I get someone with a real long neck, like a giraffe. And it's weird. And they have to set up literally like over their neck because they have such a long. Every once in a while I get a really big guy who literally has no neck at all, and it's not because the traps are huge. There's like no space here, like they're missing a vertebrae, and they need to set up a little more here. There's always room for change. What we don't want is an unwrap to come from here to here. There's no way you're going to be able to retract your scapula, which we'll not to do it. There's no way you're going to be able to do it way up here. There's no way you're going to be able to press up here. You can't reach up here. Right? So it's so far back that your spotter has to carry it out and hold it there for you. As you get set, there's a problem with that. Okay. Sometimes it's so low, the only way we can get it out there is just by making it really low. We've done so much work to carry it out. Much like the squat, if we can bring the bar out this much, as long as we don't have a crazy arc and we're not coming bouncing back into the rack, we're there. I want athletes as close to the rack as they can in a squat and a bench without getting it. And that's as close as I want you. There's less work, less chances of the shoulder coming out of position. Right? So, nose to mouth. Wherever you grab, make sure it's even. We want to shove that bar into the hand. I'm not a fan of suicide grip. It's a great way to get hurt. I've seen it too many times. So I discourage it personally. My feet are on the floor. Here I'm locking my shoulders in depression with leg drive. There's my depression. My feet are set in their position. There's already some tension, as you can see, coming to that barbell. I'm not trying to pick it up. Race. Breathe into that race. Root my feet, leg drive. Get to my start position. Now all I have to do is execute this. Reps, single, whatever it is. Practice. So it's very easy and methodical. One thing you'll see, and it's lightweight, but I got both these guys about a little bit, is how quick they took me out of the rack. It has massive carryover to the deadlift. It'll make more sense. We don't just unrack. I am very slow to unrack. I'm not under the bar load for a long time, but I don't take it out of the rack until I am ready. Most people, in my opinion, are not ready. That bar's floating out of the rack on all my squats and all my benches up into literally like my third attempt. New PR territory. I know my squat's dialed in and I'm in a good place when it's coming out of the rack and I'm not even ready to actually stand up. I still don't stand up because it's coming out of the rack. I wait until I'm ready and then I execute. Same thing with bench. We talk global tension, all lifts. You saw it right there with the bands. That was global tension. My little pinky toes were trying to beat him, I promise. Everything, my earlobes, everything, jokes aside, that creates tension in my body is creating tension. Same thing in the bench. Global tension. So again, my alignment, but also is here in my hands. I set that bar here. This is not depression of the scapula. Some people that press their scapula, they do this in the air when they're talking to me. This is internal and external rotation. Your other anatomy lesson. I say your hands under the bar. Question always comes up. Close grip, wide grip. We already touched on that a bit. So be real quick with it. My shoulder rock. If I'm a wide grip bencher, I can come straight down and get a high touch. It's perfectly fine. Look at my elbows. Check. I can be wide grip in a shirt and almost touch my belly button. Look at my elbows under the bar. Check. Close grip bencher. Up super high. Elbows under the bar. Check. I can also touch my belly if I want to. Elbows under the bar. Check. It returns to position. People worry about where they grab the bar, close or wide, more than they should be worrying about their placement. And as a coach, I don't necessarily need to alter your bar placement this way. I'm more concerned about where your elbows are naturally. Most people, when I watch them from the beginning, they get underneath the bar, and they massively retract their shoulder blades, and it's awkward already, and then they hear bend apart, so they get here, and then one elbow's like this. One of the most powerful videos you can ever get for yourself benching, or for your clients, literally a cell phone right here. Call it the coach's eye. So if I'm lifting off for you and watching you bench in person, that's when I see, Coach, my wrist has been hurting. I know, you can see that. My elbow hurts. Yeah, it's doing the thing that the other one's not, right? We see all kinds of stuff from top down. If you've never videoed yourself, please do me a favor and video top down. If you're struggling getting here, maybe we just need to lower the bar a little bit more. For powerlifting, not always true, but mostly, we want to touch the highest point. If I'm a big guy with a big belly, I want to take advantage of that. If I'm a female, have a bigger chest, and that's my highest touch point, I want to take advantage of that. That doesn't always mean it's going to be your strongest, because I've had people touch at a lower position and they can press more. But a good rule of thumb for you, elbows always under the bar, no matter where you're at. And from there, generally, the shortest range of motion is going to give you the bigger press. Generally. That does not mean if we're a smaller human that we should bench out here, because I don't have anywhere here that's different. So I'm trying to reduce range of motion. You may not be the strongest. You might be stronger here, right? So back to our high bar squat, low bar squat. Biggest fault I see with bench, other than the retraction issues we talked about, is either over pressing at a rack because it's way too low, maybe in a commercial gym, or we just set it up too low. We press out and then we come out and try to reset ourselves. Or we get a bad handoff and that person yanks us out and we have to get here. They're both very, very bad. Ideally, we want that bar again to be as close as possible. So when I unrack, boom, it's just this. I find my touch spot, and I take it right back to my start position. There's always going to be a curve in my bar path that changes by limb length and where we touch the bar. If you ever want a really good drill to understand where that is, take a weight that you can control. Go through my full setup. I'm going to unrack the bar. My eyes are closed right now, and I'm just moving it back and forth until I feel it's as weightless as it's going to be. And that should probably be straight over my arms. A lot of people want to start their bench from back here, especially if they're retracted. It's not straight. This feels like you're going to drop on your stomach. It sucks. At the bottom, I bring it low, the bar travel quite a bit this way. As I'm pressing, it needs to naturally return to start position. It's the only other deviation of movement that should happen at all in bench press. Other bench press questions before we move on to deads? Yeah.
Leg drive.
Great one. More than you're doing. And then find more. And then find even more. And then do some squats, make your legs stronger, and find more leg drive. I'll just demo off the floor here backwards. I hate, you guys can stand if you need to see this a little bit better. I hate what I call an on-off leg drive. If you're new to the sport or new to coaching, and you see this in the bench, touches my chest, boom, touches my chest, boom. especially if it's a big guy. You see it sinking, you see this massive drive. You're like, whoa, it's a lot of leg drive. No, it's not. They don't know what they're doing. The best benchers in the world, if you have a good eye for it, you can catch it. If you don't know what you're seeing, it'll look like there's no leg drive. The best benchers in the world, you will not see, not all of them, I shouldn't say that. There's one of the strongest, or the strongest right now, that's horrible leg drive. Same seams, everything, massive seam leg drive. Say again?
Julius, better. Eric's photo is better.
So the former, we used to talk about a guy, most of you probably won't know the name, Kirill Sarachev.
Yep.
If you look at it, one of the best pitchers, in my opinion, best pitcher of all time. Got beat in weight, but technically, smaller human and technically probably the beautifulest bench ever. If you look at the bench press, you're like, there's no leg drive. Oh, there's leg drive. The way I like to check people as I'm coaching, or my friend, if I walk up and anywhere during their reps, I can move their leg, they do not have tension in their legs. If that is rooted, and I'm pressing, you're not going to move my leg well. Any point in time, from unrack, during any reps, all the way to re-rack.
Yeah, the cool thing about Kirill is the whole reason why he treated squat the way he treated squat, he had 883-pound squat. He said it was all for bench.
Yeah. Couple big benches are the same way. I'm drawing a blank. What guy's name right now? I can't believe it. The number one multi-ply bencher right now. It's like 13 something in competition.
Long.
Yeah, sounds right. But last time I talked to him in person about his training, I was like, he's a bench press specialist only, but I knew he was doing something. I was like, how often do you squat? We pull. I was like, pull just for fun. But squats is only to enhance my bench press like that. You look at most of these guys, you won't see it. So I go back to, I see a lot of people, I call it on off. You can see it. On off. You watch the bar on the platform touch your chest, you see the leg drive. That's a great way to have your butt pump up off the bench. So the best way we teach the butt to not come up is by constant leg drive. It helps everything else as well. I haven't had my butt pump up in a lot of years. If you guys won't see it here, but you can try this at home. If I'm relaxed and I pick my butt up, it'll come up. If I'm actively pushing this way as hard as I can, and I try to pick my butt up, it won't come up because it's two different actions. Hip drive, leg drive. I should be doing exactly what I showed without weight in my hands, shoving my body this way. Heaving and on-off leg drive turns into more hip drive. I get it can be confusing because the barbell goes this way, right? In the coaching cert level 1, we talk force vectors, right? This way is the way the bar goes, so they don't want my butt to go this way too. No, all of your energy went right here. I need the energy to transfer from your legs, try to create momentum this way so the bar comes up, right? It'd be like me throwing a punch to you, but pushing that way. I can hit you, it's not going to hit very hard, I promise. Leg drive energy, bar press. I need it to go that way, create momentum to go this way. That's when I'm looking at you and driving towards you with my bench press. Hard to vectorize sometimes because it's a little bit different than throwing a punch, but it's the same thing. So when it comes to leg drive, massive leg drive early, that happens, I told you guys, in back to our volume back. Going through quick here, but I'm set, pinning my shoulders down. There's already leg drive. I'm at like 40%. Brace, breathe, there's the tension, 60, 70, 80. I'm not even trying to unrack it. There's about 80% leg drive. I'm trying to shove this thing over. I'm working really hard. Touch, 100%. I'm trying to go to the head referee's lap every time I bench. It'll feel way lighter on the unrack. Weight will pop off your chest, and likelihood of butt coming up is a lot less. Foot position real quick. I don't really care foot position, other than the fact that I prefer, if I'm a beginner, I want this on the bench. I don't mind tucked up here. I've coached some all-time world record holders and plenty of world record holders that do that, so it can be hard to say, again, not that you're right and I'm wrong. What you're using is working for you. It's a strategy that works, but I think this one's better. And why I would argue that, as we're talking about some of the better, stronger benchers, not only the ones, think about your squat. Who's ever seen a person win heaviest squat in a meet with their heels this high off the floor? Never seen it. Thank God. Great way to blow a quad tendon off. Would any of you want to squat your max on a push post? Hope not. And I know it's a squat, not a bench, so bear with me. But think back to some of the principles. Muscle car. Massive engine. We're going to put it on Prius tires. It's not wrong to bench on your toes. It's not. Works really well for some people. I would rather have as much surface as possible to drive into the barbell. I prefer a wider, flatter out front stance. That's just my preference. I've coached plenty of people other ways. If you're not set on your position, move out, get used to it, try it, and bet it benefits you. The other benefit, two benefits. If I coil my legs underneath me so far that I'm so tight, there's nothing I can do without holding on to the bar to get my butt to pop up. It's a strategy to never get your butt to fall off the bench. Problem is you're sacrificing massive leg drive. I can also do this weird trick out here. When I do this, my knee is lower than my hip. It's impossible for me to lift my butt up off the bench. If my knee, if I put plates underneath here, is higher than my hip, I can lift my butt up off the bench. Simple leverage. If it's so far out, you can try it, you cannot pick your butt up. It takes care of that problem. Just like feet back here, we get to a point in time where we lose optimal leg drive. This setup is great if you maintain tension. To do this, you wasted your time. To do this, and then move your feet, you waste your time. It's one of the other reasons I hate seeing swing through the door. I feel this massive tension here, and then they reset. Coil your spring to uncoil your spring to recoil. One of them is going to be tighter than the other, and the first one is probably the tightest. Find your tension, maintain it. Leg drive keeps that tension. So if you are one to use your resource to get tighter, tension, 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 leg drive tension. You just have to keep it maintained. We can't let go completely. Other bench pressing questions?
Kind of related. My feet don't touch ground except for the very toes. So would you recommend the blocks?
Yeah,
or-
try blocks for sure. I think if you tried them, you'd probably find more leg drive. And again, I hate to say this over and over again, but find out. Not 1 week on, 1 week off. Take a bench day. Primary, keep the way you do it. Your secondary, try it. That's why I'm such a huge fan of velocity. You don't have to hit heavy weights when you see what velocity says. If it's, 70%, the velocity is way faster, it's telling you something. You don't have to hit heavy loads.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if you're that explosive and you do come up and hit those hooks in a competition, is it still going to be a good lift if you can hold it there before you re-rack, or they?
Depends. So the equipment cannot assist the lift.
Okay.
And some of that's going to be interpretation of the referee as multiple rules are. If she looks at it and says, that didn't really help her maintain, and she's center and gives you a white light, I might be on the side and be like, I swear she hit that thing so hard if it wasn't there, it was going over her face. I might red light it. Same lift, two different referees, two different viewpoints. What more we on? Really optimizing your bar path. If you find that's a common occurrence, then I will tell you, let's get you 1 inch, one simple inch this way. And again, nothing wrong with swinging through the back door, but unless you know how to mark, like at your home gym, if you can tape the ground or something, and I can put my toes on that same mark every time, and then swing through, cool, right? Because I know. Then if I have to move an inch forward, I just move my tape an inch forward and set up. On the platform, I see a lot of people off versus their
gotta, the competition benches are all the same length, right?
There's some variance for height and width.
How much? Like,
Not too much.
so if you
I
use,
think it's within an inch, all specs.
so if you use like your femur length, your knee set, and the end of the bench where you put your feet,
Yeah.
that should be pretty close no matter which meet you go to.
Yep, yep. So those are little details I like. Anything you guys can use, squat, bench, or deadlift. And again, this stuff, when you think about it, carries over. Certain athletes in the gym, they're doing overhead press. When they're reeling wall balls, their distance to the wall. Like all these things, if we can analyze the data and make it consistent, and we don't have to think. And when it's optimizing all of our movements, then we optimize the workout. Regardless whether it's power, strength, speed, weight loss, right? All the clients we work with, we can get them in better shape by making little tweaks and making them consistent. So yeah, anything you can do, right? Sitting here and moving, like, look at something. Your feet, your hand distance on here, your feet set up on this. Anything that's a marker is going to be pretty close. It's going to be better than no marker. Sweet. What other questions we have? 50 pounds ring, we go 100 on your squat, 100 on bench, 50 on bench. So we definitely need one multi or single ply. Good luck on the 50 of the deadlift.
Doors open at
Maybe we can get an extra 25 on the
He
bench.
wants everyone here by 9.
Scott just
So
worked.
they can start, and we can start right at 10.
You start in your deadlift, you start bracing at the top, the bottom.
Top.
Okay. Some different things.
Yeah, there's a lot of different game strategies, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna, again, I like to pull away from the question a lot of times to give you a different way to think about it. And sometimes that's like, oh, that makes sense. So we just think about it like, what's a deadlift? It doesn't matter, right? And I know I'm about to talk about a squat, but hopefully this makes sense. Are you familiar with pin squats?
Pin squats?
Pin squats where you would set the pins at a lower level and squat down to the pins.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So some coaches, I like to start them up, so my athletes would walk out, they would touch the pin at various heights, stand up, and they would re-rack it. Same thing with bench. On bench, I want you to bring it down, because I want a normal bench press pattern set up. Sometimes I will start from the bottom. Some coaches always start from the bottom. The squat, the pin squat, if you were to start from the bottom, I'm talking in the bottom, low pins, how easy would it be to set your brace and breathe out? Yeah, you're already like, yes, I wouldn't do that. Yeah, it's hard. I know it's a deadlift, but we're in the lower portion-ish of a squat, and we have compressive forces with our own body parts. It's not, in my opinion, the optimal place to set bracing.
Yeah, 'cause I found myself, if I brace at the bottom, I feel tighter, but what I was doing, I braced at the top. By the time I reached down and grabbed it, I was losing my tension.
Yeah.
And I was trying to regain it.
So practice,
Okay.
practice, practice, practice. But the one tweak we're gonna make on setup might help on this. You guys wanna grab like 45 bumpers for me and bring them here. Pull the pole, a couple of reps up here, coach, with 225 on the floor. Other deadlift, that's a great question. Any other deadlift questions? Yeah.
How can you like make sure that your heel doesn't pop up when you're like halfway up on your deadlift?
I have a question for you.
I want to chip them up. Brand new. Yeah, they're brand new.
I'm gonna get to that, I promise. Other deadlift questions?
How do you decide when you're in a sumo, your stance?
Yep, I will cover that one for sure too. It's a really good one. Has more variances than a conventional stance. Any other questions out there? Yeah.
I got one too. In a conventional stance, toes out or straight, does it matter? Just
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very similar to what I showed standing on the bench in the squat. I'll probably jump to that one first. Any other general deadlift questions? Cool. This might be a good one for you too to play with. roster and started to travel the world and do seminars. And I was blessed to teach athletes and coaches everywhere this thing. I had this epiphany. Because I was coaching more and more and more. And a lot of times, like a lot of those questions, I'm going to get to most of them, I promise. And the other questions will be answered in movement. We would have athletes fly from all over the world to come see us, a lot from the U.S., to come get a tune-up at Kabuki Strength Lab at our gym. They would pay to come, pay our coaches to do a private assessment with them. I've worked with some really great lifters. It was awesome. They would ask all kinds of questions. They wanted to know all these answers. Where do I stand? How do I do this? How do I do this? And I wouldn't answer most of the questions because we would start with breathing and bracing stuff we taught you here. We would fine tune that. We didn't jump into foot here because we don't have time. We would fine tune the foot. And then say if they were a deadlift specialist, we would then change their deadlift setup sequence. And most of their questions would be answered. It made my life so easy in the gym. Because instead of trying to fix this and fix this and fix that, I gave them a repeatable series set up on the bar with a particular order, and things started solving themselves. Foot stance and things like that are a little bit unique, but a lot of problems just went away by giving them something that's repeatable and correcting a couple issues. And so many people be like, it's mind-blowing. Our 2-day seminar that the company used to teach, one of the big reasons I didn't work there anymore for just equipment sales and decided to go out and start this new company. Again, I've taught, and I don't need to make this sound braggadocious, but in our level 2 course, the amount of athletes I've been able to help, we've helped over 10,000 athletes, worked with over 1,000 coaches, a lot of world record holders. It's just been a blessing. I didn't want that to go away and not be able to help so many coaches and athletes who like, we got one thing. Mind blowing. Like, but all we did is taught you one thing, help the breathing, which you already do, and tweak your setup. Like, I haven't even done my coaching job yet. I haven't tweaked your programming. I'm not analyzing and fine-tuning your movement. That's where we have these mind-blowing things. So I say that to any of you who are coaching people out there because it's very powerful when you can fine-tune a couple things, and all of a sudden, guys like, Coach, my knee doesn't hurt anymore. I've seen this doctor and this PT and all this. How'd you do that? The question on your stance, we did this. That's all I did. The guys are like, I've been to so many people. I don't know why they didn't see that. To me, it's one-on-one. The knee did this. We tweaked it for Scott last night. And I needed to not do that. So we moved an inch each foot. Alignment of the body is perfect. You feel more of a muscle. No issues. Bar flies up. We're good to go. And again, some of those things do change because of stress and time, right? If he's been stuck at his job, a lot of sitting, a lot of long hours, I guarantee he's not going to be as open to sumo deadlift, his hips are, as when he takes a week off and travels to a world's with me, right? The stress, the movement, and everything is different. Conventional is going to be pretty similar, right? Sumo is going to have a bigger variance. And I hate that for athletes because I hate changing stance, especially like a belt on. Well, coach, I feel a little tight today, so I did this. Well, that didn't feel right, now I'm second guessing everything. I don't like change. I want to be the robot. I can just chop the floor, walk up to the chop marks, and pull. It's not always that easy. So, everybody stand up real quick. You know, you can sit for a long time. This is not sumo, this is conventional. So if you're sumo deadlifter, I'm sorry, but I'll help you in a minute. So, I want you to stand pretty stupid close and toes straight. You got it. And toes straight ahead. Closer. More. There we are. All right. Little brace, nice alignment. Yeah, I like that. Squeeze the glutes as hard as you can. Maybe a little quads too. Just pay attention. Just checking how it feels. Go wider than your shoulders. So this would be a wider conventional, maybe more of a strongman type stance. Same thing, a little bit of brace, neutral posture, squeeze your glutes as hard as you can, maybe a little quads, pay attention to how you feel through here. Now, come to where your shins, or your femurs, are truly straight. Rotate toes out, not quite to a 45-degree angle, but give me a little bit of toe out. Squeeze your glutes as hard as you can, little quads, same thing applies. Who feels most muscular activation in this position? Cool. Any Anybody feel most stupid close? Thought you might.
I changed mine about a year ago, so.
Anybody feel good kind of out here? Sweet. I just told you where you should stand conventional. Make a decision for you. Why is that? Where do most athletes, not everybody, it's stable to the floor, talking about. Where do most athletes fail when it's heavy and conventional? Can't lock out. Especially if we're out of position into the death shakes. We might just stand here because we saw our friends do it, or somebody said that's conventional. But when you can make and play with it a little bit more as you're standing here. Ooh, for me, right there. And I know where I stand, like, maybe drink a little water, my boots almost cramped on that. Like, that is where my body, my femur angle wants to produce its most force. If I'm slow through here, anywhere else is not as optimal of an opportunity for me to pull from. Pretty simple. So that's one way conventional, you guys can sit down. That's one way conventional, we can easily tweak our stance and optimize it. Sumo, Scott's question. Just tweak this. Back in the day when I was multiply, on a Texas bar like this, I tried to stand about yay, so I can stand up here, and just enough so when I put the bar down, I wouldn't smash my toes. The problem with this stance and this is balance. And in a multiply suit, I took plenty into the rear spotter, and I took plenty that way. It's not stable. Quick rule of thumb sumo for coaches. Very strong lockout, coming on my toes. Weak off the floor. Very fast off the floor, very weak lockout. You can feel that. Again, just like my squat. I'm not changing my femur width here on purpose, just an internal external rotation. Here, I can squeeze my glutes relatively hard. Out here, I can squeeze them, there's just not much there. A lot of tension through here doesn't feel that good. So the rare occasion we have an athlete who's stable on the floor, sumo, and they're here, we can do that and it'll pop off the floor and they can finish the lift. It's not always a gimme. Sometimes people are very strong and they just can't finish their sumo pulls, right? And they're here, we turn them in a little bit more, boom, and they stay more upright and they finish. So there's one variance in sumo. The hard part is with this one. Again, I used to be out here. I played with it all. This just sucks. I dropped more top deadlifts in a suit. I get just a short pull. If I can stay perfectly linear, it's awesome. Other than that, it sucks. So the repeatability wasn't good. Normally, or I should say before back surgery, I was about here, and I would look at it, I know where my toes are. When I got into the top part of the squat, these knurling marks touch my calves. I'm not open enough. When I'm going to pull, this is what I was helping Scott with the other day. I can't get, see, I have to shift to show you one leg. I cannot get knee over ankle. There's a lot of people that pull sumo here. Your body's trying to tell you something. This is not comfortable. It cannot produce its most force here. I need, when I wedge in sumo, I need my knee over my ankle. Do most people know who Danny Grigsby is? Everybody raise your hand if you've heard the name. If you don't, top sumo deadlifter in the world. He was set to pull 1100. He can definitely do it. Has multiple pulls over 1,000. No straps, no suit. Best deadlift all time by Thor currently. It's 1100. Dude weighed 400 at the time. Single ply suit and straps. Danny can pull it at 242 to 275. No suit, no straps. He'll do it. He has the strength. Too many times, this is a caveat not for deadlifts, too many times, this is all lifting. I look up to athletes, and I'm like, man, my coach has the best squat. So strong. I'm a squat coach. High bar here. I match you because I love what you do. Man, her deadlift is so good. I'm deadlifting like her on Instagram. She's got an all-time world record. She must know what she's doing. I'm not built like either one of these people. Danny's my good buddy. He's a freak. Like, it doesn't even make sense. That's why he deadlifts so much. guy is here, his shins are perfectly straight, and his hands are touching the bar. I can pull a lot off 8-inch blocks too. It's not fair. I know he's built to pull big deadlifts. He's not the best squatter in his weight class. He's not the best bencher. And then, because there's all the kilos in the world and Red's out to here, the bar bends that much more before it leaves the floor. So now he's up here. Whoop. People make fun of him. If I can do that, I'll do that too, I promise. If I can make my bench press this short, you bet your butt I would do it. But the problem with that is, if I look up to my buddy, because I want to be like Danny and love the guy, he's a good dude. I try to match his limb lengths and his leverages. He's a little bit taller than me, definitely longer limbed, and he's got, I don't know, 70 pounds of muscle on me. I'm not him. I need to deadlift like me from my best leverages. So it's a really slippery slope to get into, especially with the Instagram world these days, when we look up to other lifters, and I want to deadlift like her. I want to bench like her. I should do X. You know, I can't do that with my back. I need to work with my best leverages. So it's important to keep that in mind, especially for younger athletes. You're looking up as you get stronger, you're climbing up the ranks, and you're breaking records and doing cool stuff. And you look at those who are paving the way in front of you. If you're not built like them, look at the same guy that you're impressed by that's close to your body size. Not a 220 lifter. You're not built like him yet. It's not going to happen, right? So that's important to note, especially in sumo. We already talked conventional, some little tweaks, you can figure it out. Knees should always be, when I pull in the bar, should be both lifts. We're going to cover alignment here real quick. Very important. Both lifts should also be aligned correctly this way to the barbell. The easiest way to look at that is from the side. So, I used to teach 1 inch off the bar. I was a pretty good deadlifter. National record, world record, had plenty of world record holders. This was the way I taught everybody. If you're conventional, you're 1 inch off the bar. If you're sumo, your shins are on the bar. I don't care if Coach Kyle says so. Wish I could go back to teach young Coach Kyle a lot of things. I save myself some pain and misery, make some better athletes. There's an easier way to find out. And sometimes, not so much conventional, that's pretty set, unless we gain, like, I don't know, 50 pounds, go up a couple weight classes, or lose 100 pounds and go down a couple. Your leverages are going to change. Conventional is pretty set for the weights. Because of what we talked about width this way in sumo, and hip tightness this way, it might change on a monthly, yearly, like there might be some variance in life. Things might change. So, conventional. When you do find the magic spot, pay attention to where it's at in your lifting shoes. I'm looking at this spot of this shoe. Last lace. That's where I pull in. That's my conventional stance right here. Where I feel the best and where I pull the best. So, breathing at the bottom. We're about to get into that answer too, but it's going to be answered by our setup. Massive hinge. We do not squat to the bar. Not so much that I have to round my back and reach to the bar. Don't bend, hinge. Again, different leg lengths. Maybe I can get there, I can't quite, so then I have to come down to the squat. My back is straight. So this is my position where I start to wedge in. Shoulders are over the bar, they're pretty straight. But more importantly, tension. When I'm at my start point, that should have been pretty centered over the bar. Right, I guess you got the best view. What we don't want is me trying to overcome that on the bar. It's an easy tell for you. I don't care who you are, how big you are, where you pull. Arms should be straight. Sumo. Straight. Close stance sumo. Straight. We want it to be straight. Think about it like a deadlift strap. Or if we pulled long and straight down, no matter which place. nice and say it's only 50 because really only my shoulders up or over the bar. It's gonna make you feel heavier, I promise. Or in line with the bar, the shear force is gonna be different. It's going to feel lighter, I promise. When we get into clean pulls, snatch pulls, or weightlifting drills, that can change a little bit because of the way we create force and put leverage. So for those of you who do CrossFit as well, you need to learn to deadlift like a power lifter and weightlift like a weightlifter. I'm not knocking CrossFit because I used to own a box too. One of my problems with not lifters here or in my gym, one of my problems with CrossFitters as a sport is they kind of suck at deadlifting. They're not good at deadlifting and they kind of suck at weightlifting. They're not good at either because they don't take the time, generally speaking, to make these two skills good under the right tutelage. You're like, hey, I'm just going to kind of go fast and get through my WOD, so it kind of turns into kind of a clean, kind of a deadlift, kind of a combination of both. They have a ton of similarities. A ton. They're just slightly different in a couple areas. It's like conventional and sumo. If you get really good at conventional and you're a sumo lifter, or vice versa, you'll become a better deadlifter. If you do CrossFit or play for sport and fun, if you get really good at the deadlift, you get really good at the clean, they will make each other both better because you're a better technical lifter and you understand the differences better. So, the other tell for us, again I'm excluding weightlifting for this, we're talking purely the deadlift from a performance, strength, or powerlifting standpoint, is crap, it's gonna hit me. When I go to the bar and I do my thing, my bar rolls forward, I was not in a good position. My body's trying to show me it wasn't there. And the same thing can be sumo. If I push the bar forward, there's a guaranteed tell you're not in a good position. The other big one is, let's say I do pull here for reps. Up me. And this is where my body puts it down, and the second rep is easier, and it feels better. And you watch it on video, man, why is my second rep so much better? Because you were in a more optimal position. Your body said, ugh, that sucked. It put it down where it wants to put it down in a more optimal position to pull from. The best thing you can look at is the deadlift strap from the side, right? So, when we wedge in again, pull the slack out of the bar, generally speaking, it should be straight. The funny thing is, a lot of times, I don't know if you saw it, but when I pull in conventional, even though I'm in this weird position way back here, a lot of coaches would say that's too far in front of me. When I actually pulled in, the bar came off the floor and touched my chest. Right? Again, everybody's different. So I still got to the place that some people would say you need to go. I just let my body get there naturally around the bar instead of forcing the bar around my body. As I get ready to pull it up and touch my chest. You still get there. So, questions on width or stance? I need that to cover. Cool, to jump back in a little bit more what Scott was saying here. If I go to pull, and I normally come here, go a little wider, and I just can't, as I'm going to wedge in, I just can't get knees over here, I'm sorry, I need to bring my stance in sumo a little bit. When I go to wedge in, if I can pull that into a good position, knee over ankle, the support's good. On all lifts, that's true, excuse me. Notice when we talk about bench, all the time I talk about saying stacked underneath it. Joint stacking, joint centration, right? Same thing here. This, with the rack behind us. Look at these steel posts. They're not at 10-degree angles, they're straight. I do understand in construction a honeycomb and a triangle are some of the strongest structures in the world. But let's think about most residential framing. The beams over there, they're straight, under straight, under straight. Everything's straight. Most, those poles, the chairs are in, right? Most everything is straight angle. We're not pieces of iron, we're not buildings. But when we can match our body limb lengths to a better structural alignment under the bar, better things happen. Our muscles can exert more force. So coaches, when you see that that's off, fix it. Athletes, when you notice that, on that top-down bench video, oh, it's killing me lately. So you film top-down, yeah, one of those things does not look like the other. I don't have to have a deep anatomy lesson to be a physical therapist to tell you what's wrong with your elbow and why it hurts. It doesn't look like the other thing. Get it stacked underneath the bar, we'll have better performance. Yes, sir.
So I was kind of coaching the shoulder right over the bar quite a bit, but a commonality I found is that most of my athletes, when they were doing that, you look at their back angle, they would rotate slightly to a more armpit or posterior edge of the arm before the weight would come off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of changed to a more armpit over the bar.
Is
to
the arm, I'm gonna ask you a question differently. I know exactly what you're saying.
To try and get away from that inefficiency at the start of the pull.
Was their arm straight?
Yes.
That's, so, to say it a different way, we can talk semantics when we're looking at this point, to what coach is saying back there. Don't necessarily think about that, because the number one, I'm talking straps, arms should be straight. When people are too far forward, maybe my waist is over, maybe it's my armpit, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
There's no way my arm can be straight, otherwise the bar is gonna be 6 inches in front of my toes. It's not here. If I'm way too far this way, it's gonna be in front of us. So when we wedge in, the arm.
Right.
And also we have to look at, if you've got some good size on you, you're a big strong guy, right?
Yep.
That's gonna be different than looking at your body over the bar. Two different body masses. You get a bodybuilder on there with giant delts, and it might look like they're way over the bar, because you look at their shoulder, it's out here, they're way in front of the bar, right? That's why I like arms, because it can skew body mass and other things.
Another trick I found is a chalk mark on their shirt.
Oh, nice one.
It gives you a reference, no matter how their shoulders are done. Wrestlers, they tend to be way
Yeah,
over like
wrestlers,
that.
boxers.
But if you give them a chalk mark, it gives you a constant visual of where they're at.
Right. Now, a lot of these tricks, guys, I know there's a lot of athletes here. This meet will have a lot of fairly new lifters. Some of these things we're telling you, like, don't hesitate. Even if you're working with a coach, and the coach is videoing stuff for you, guys are working together. I've never done chalk, but I've done tape marks. Like, what we're saying here is get a good visual so it's repeatable, right? I like to talk about metronomes with lifting. Beginner lifters, I'm gonna let them have this much deviation. Over time, we're gonna get to where we have none. That metronome, tick, top, tick, top. We need to clean that up where it's none, right? We want less deviation as a new lifter. It's okay if you're figuring out where your body's at in place and time. 3 years later, let's make sure we're in an optimal position for our bodies. Cool. So let's finish the setup. The nice thing, sumo's gonna be the exact same. Again, you guys can jump on my YouTube channel. These from the USDA Coaches Level 1 cert. It's about 20 hours of content. There's total and certification. There's 3 20-minute modules covering just the exact setup on there for reference of what we covered today. So, alignment. Again, just be nice to yourself. Overall, use of lifting. Make sure your bar's straight. Plates loaded, clips are on, whatever it is, you're aligned. Sumo is pretty easy because most people are looking at alignment with the knurling marks. Conventional, I see a lot of people off of it. Pay attention to where the knurling starts. Even if you're close, you gotta get some reference point, about 3 fingers off. Cool. Alignment, left, right. Alignment front, back is probably more important. We spent a lot of time talking about why. In my opinion, again, it's probably more important. Unless you're way off, then it's misloaded and windmills. So, I'm going to show everything sumo here first, because I'm better at it. Once I'm here, we prefer to answer your question finally. Alignment here, here, brace, right, and breathe. Wedge to the bar. I'm going to set this at like 60% with just enough air for me to get there. So maybe about 70% of efficiency, not 100%. Because if we spend time wedging in, some people 1, 2, 3, they take time down there, you're going to want to get out of there, rebreathe That also helps me as I go to the bar, not to do that bad thing we talked about in the squat and going to an anterior tilt. Here, brace, breathe, massive hinge to the bar. Butt should go back. Spine should be straight. No difference conventional. I do have to squat then to get to the bar. That's totally fine. What we don't want is this setup that we see a lot. Do not squat down to the bar. The other reason is to answer your question. Here, I'm not a huge guy, and I'm standing really wide, but I can already feel some pressure on my stomach. I can feel that it's going to change my breathing and bracing. Here, most definitely, I'll not be able to take an optimal breath or brace there, especially with the belt on. It's going to be tight. When I wedge in, alignment, positioning, brace, breathe into the brace, hinge to the bar. Here, this is straight, remember. Optimal position, I have a lot better time reinforcing my brace and my breath here. So let's just pretend I'm to this point. Scapular depression, not retraction. Don't need to get to this position. Depression, tension into the bar. That comes from rooting my feet and driving into the bar a little bit. Tension, tension, tension. Again, these things get really easy because they're similar everywhere we go. Tension. As I wedge into position, the bar's bending, 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 it starts to pop off the floor. I left one spot out because I realized there. My apologies. Tension. That's when I reinforce my brace. Can I brace harder there? I'm not trying to take the bar off the floor yet. I'm creating some tension. Clarify. Just some engagement in my legs. Just some engagement in the bench bar. Reinforce brace. Last air. Wedge, wedge, wedge. Take off. Conventional is going to be the same thing. Alignment. Brace. Breathe. About 60-70%. Hinge. Tension. Feet are rooted. Brace harder. Breathe. Execute. Becomes very easy. Remember, all we want to do is stand tall. I see so many athletes on the platform. Here. Soft knees, I'm going to red light you. You're also opening this up, crushing your back. You don't have to hold it here. Think again when I taught you guys with squats. If you stand here with a bar in your hands, I'll give you a down single every time. When you're here, I'll give you a down single every time. You do not have to do this and look at the ceiling. To wear and tear you don't need. Deviation of position again, right? Beginner lifters, master lifters. I mean master like skill set, not age. So one more time with sumo. My alignment, brace. This just helps me not do this and not do this. This, I'm halfway there, similar to setting a brace at the bottom, where there's not as much pressure in my torso, because I'm as high as I can be. So, very similar to squat, and a bench coming up. Notice how I'm not doing this just for demo purposes. Notice how when the bar comes off the floor, I don't stand. Even conventional, I'm not as good of a conventional lifter. But when I wedge in sumo, watch how I find a better position, and then stand. There. I'm not trying to do a pause deadlift. I posted a video from Kabuki, seven or eight plate deadlift. Pound plates way out here. The bed straps on, I was cheating with everything, it was fun. Point being, the bar bent more to a position like you're seeing again here, right? The bar was still off the floor, was on the floor, last plates, but I was here. 500 pounds of kilos, that will not happen. I will not be able to be in that optimal position. two 45-pound plates, you're not gonna get much big. Why that's important, especially even if you're maybe a stiff bar person, you need to learn to feel this. The pull in position. The bar doesn't have to fit. You can do it on power. Point being, I don't stand until I'm ready. Same thing's gonna happen on the platform. If I wedge in and it's already moving, I was off the ground. I don't like my position. I'm not just gonna stand straight up and finish with all my back. I'm going to keep the bar moving. What am I doing? Good, better, best stand. Carrying without momentum. I'm being patient enough not to stand until I'm in my best position. Again, not to get too diluted with it, but if I had Danny Grigsby's position, I would just stand straight up from the floor. I'm not, so I'm trying to find my optimal position before I stand. Conventional, same thing. Better, best, go. That gives me an opportunity to finish here instead of here, which you see all the time. Put yourself in optimal position. We were talking weightlifting. Right, really mastering the two. Exact opposite. Weightlifting, clean pull. I get as far stretched out as I can because I want as much time to exert force on the barbell, create momentum as I go into transition to work into my third pull. Snatch is going to be the same thing. In powerlifting, that will kill you because the weights are heavier. We want as little time as possible because time under tension will ruin us. Here, much quicker lockout than here because of my leverages. There's a similarity but a difference, right? Questions on deadlift or deadlift setup?
What's your opinion of dynamic? For the roll and the roll?
Great question. Very similar to a setup swinging through the back door this way. You can time it. My hat off to you. So you see people come out here, they get momentum. Strategy, it works. How do we know exactly when to yank that bar off the floor in relation to our body? It's hard. It's really, really hard. A lot of super heavyweights do it, a lot of strongmen do it. Super hard to time. That's why I don't like it. I'm also not a fan of grip it and rip it. See, in strategy, some of the best deadlifters in the world. There you go. It's a great way to tear a bicep. Not going to guarantee it, but it is. Think about it like a fishing pole. So we use this analogy a lot. If I have a big fish on a fishing pole, I set that hook and I yank it back. What happens at first to the fishy? Got a hook in his lip, that's about it. Didn't travel through the water yet. When I bend the bar, the pole enough, and start reeling on it, when enough weight has met tensile strength of the bar, then fish starts coming towards the boat. Right? Not right or wrong, it just is. If I had fish on a pulley system, and I yanked on a rope, it would set the hook, and how far I moved this, fish would have came out of the water. It's equal distance. So when we talk about energy transfer, in my opinion, it's a lot better. The other way to talk about it is if we go out mudding, I get stuck, Scott goes to try to pull me out, we leave a lot of slack between our toe rope or our chain, and he takes off, and I'm just chilling. My bumper might come off, the chain might snap, I might get whiplash, maybe none of those things happen, but what's not going to happen is optimal movement between object A and B. We'll get there together, but it's going to be a little rocky. If he finds tension in the toe strap and starts pulling me out of the mud hole, and I drive too, boom, we drive off and have a great day in the sunset. It's awesome. Your choice, right? know you can do it, but it's a lot of force on your body over a lot of years. And it's very hard to maintain an optimal position. Then go back to that fishing pole. Energy transfer in one goes directly to the fish to run a pulley system. I waste a lot of energy to then fix my position when I yank it. That goes to here on the platform, pound plates in a gym or the desk, because you get the plank. That little plank within this part of the bar, and pound plates are better. So the best weightlifters in the world, the same thing. You will not hear a yank off the floor. Smooth and quiet. When you're pulling, you should not hear. And it's not the thud I'm talking about, it's a click clank. You're gonna hear it again, but I'm not lifting. Tension's out, now I go. The whole time tension was created. Right? It's a good telltale way to see if you're yanking it. When you actually execute the lift, it should be quiet. When you create tension in the bar, you should get the crank. Other deadlifty questions?
What's the difference between this grip here and a reverse?
Good one. Hook and mix. Yeah, it hurts. Hurts feelings too.
No,
Hook grip.
no, this or this?
Yep, so hook grip, double overhand, is going to be the safest on all of your arms and upper body. And it generally leads to a better position this way, less deviations this way. It gets heavy, hook sucks. Weightlifters are hook grip when they do clean. It's really hard to do this, right? The continental clean strongman, you pick up and go here, they flip their arm while they're doing it. Crazy. For longevity and good skill and balance, if you do mix, you don't always have to pull like on the platform here to here, but every once in a while, switch your grip. A lot of people have switched to double overhand because it's a superior position. Yeah. A lot of people also run into grip problems.
Team USA goes against superior.
So if you can hang on to it, by all means, double overhand, you're better.
Okay. Not if you got short thumbs, you can't do it.
Yeah, gain some more weight too. Other deadlift questions? Sweet guys, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Once again, anytime I do a speaking engagement, whether it's a full seminar, 2 days, or it's an hour session or a quick 4-hour session like this, I have your guys' contact already signed in. If you didn't sign in, I want to make sure I have it. Get your name and number on that clipboard, and I'll make sure you get an email from me with some follow-up videos and a couple other things. But reach out if you have questions on what we went through. My true passion is coaching athletes and coaching coaches. And I don't mean one-on-one athletes like Scott paying me to coach him. I work with coaches and athletes all across the world. I love to give back what I do. If you need something or if you have a question on what we went over, reach out. I want to make you better. My true passion is really helping coach coaches because then I see all of your athletes in your CrossFit box become better. And it's just a beautiful thing. So,
Hey, any of you athletes that have not got your swag bag, please stop and see Amanda when you get in your swag bag. Okay?
Swag bag. Swag
Thank you guys. Hey,
Nice.
doors gonna be open at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right? Let's start at 10.
Yeah, weighing that on 38 kilos. 2 kilos under.
Yes, we will have, Josie is working on,
About halfway through, I fucking went out, got the burger.
You start crying. Did you see this?
There will